Chapter 11:27. I'll spare your lives. These words were like heavenly music to the ears of the two Tao integration stage experts. What followed was a sense of ecstasy. Are you serious? With this old man's cultivation, do you think that I would lie? Or slap myself in the face? Lei Changtian said disdainfully. All right then. The two Tao integration stage experts were overjoyed. In front of this old man, they didn't even have the slightest bit of power. They had thought that they would definitely die tonight, given how ferocious this old man was. Only then did they manage to brace themselves for once. Who would have thought that there would be such a turn of events? Could it be that the heavens are really blessing the kind-hearted and giving them a chance to live? Sparring isn't a big deal. We love to guide our juniors. Then let's begin. Let's begin. I'm warning you. Don't try anything funny. You should know that your little tricks won't work in front of me. Don't worry, senior. We won't. Lei Changtian released the suppression on the two Tao integration stage experts. This was a unique exchange of pointers, and also a dutiful exchange of pointers. The two Tao integration stage experts of the Wong family were really giving their all for this sparring. From their auras, to their moves, to defending themselves, and then to their counterattacks. As they sparred, they also had to patiently and painstakingly explain everything in detail. Well, they had to give it their all. There was a life-seizing old monster eyeing them covetously from the side. He was an expert among experts. If either of them didn't teach properly and let him catch the slightest flaw, they would probably lose their lives here. At this moment, there was no such thing as an outsider watching. The entire Dingjun stage was enveloped by Lei Changtian's enormous divine consciousness. Not even a bird in the sky could fly over, let alone spectators. That's not how you're going about it. The difference in your cultivation is too great. Don't even think about counterattacking at a time like this. In the Tao integration realm, the most important thing is the fusion of all techniques, and you can't grasp the key point at all with your cultivation. Any slight movement will cause you to be exposed and your condition to collapse. Therefore, any counterattack at a time like this is futile. At this time, don't even think about dodging. Dodging is just a temporary expedient. Once you start dodging, I can use the momentum of the convergence of 10,000 arts to continue chasing after you, making you constantly show flaws. Then, you can only keep dodging until you can't dodge anymore. If you can't dodge anymore, you'll be captured and killed. At a time like this, the best way to deal with it is to use the most subtle techniques you know. You can divert the force with little effort. When the attack is eliminated, you can then dodge. Only then can you ensure that your opponent will not catch a flaw and continue to pursue you. How do you explain this? For example, when the flood peak comes, you have to take it head-on and survive the first wave. Then, you have to divert the force of the flood. Only then can you ensure that the dam is not breached. Do you understand? If you dodge right away, the power of the flood peak will follow you closely until the dam is destroyed. That's right, said Ji Hao. You should understand now, right? Taking it head-on is also a matter of technique. If you can avoid it head-on, then don't. First of all, it's easy to break if you're too rigid. Once you misjudge your opponent's power level, it's very likely that you'll collapse instantly. Similarly, if your opponent finds out that you actually dare to take it head-on, he'll add more force, and it's very likely that he'll kill you in an instant. The trick to dealing with this is, if we're heavy weapons, it'll be easier for you to carry them. However, if we're light weapons, it'll be even more difficult to deal with. For high-level cultivators, lifting light weapons as if they're heavy is a piece of cake. Different enemies, different battles, different weapons. Especially when you're up against Tao integration stage cultivators, given the vast difference in your cultivation bases. Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan battled again and again under the pressure of Tao integration stage cultivators. This went on for a full hour. During this hour, both of them benefited immensely. It was a rare opportunity to receive wholehearted guidance from two Tao integration stage cultivators. Finally, even Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan were feeling a little exhausted. Only then did this sparring match officially come to an end. Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan had truly understood two concepts. One concept, powerful beings. The other concept, Tao integration stage. Both of them felt that they had benefited immensely from this constant tempering. Now, all that was left was for the two of them to carefully ponder over these concepts in their daily battles. There were many things that one knew but did not know the reason for. No matter how high one's aptitude was, it was impossible to master these concepts in a short period of time. The two Tao integration stage cultivators of the Wang family were also very tired. However, they felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off their shoulders. "Senior, we've done it," one of them said. "In other words, could you let us go now?" Lei Changtian nodded and praised. "Not bad, not bad. You're welcome. I hope that in the future, our Wang family can put aside our former enmity and visit you more often." The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family was full of smiles. "In that case, we'll take our leave now." "Leave? Who said you could leave?" Lei Changtian emphasized the word you. The two Tao integration stage cultivators of the Wang family were suddenly stunned. Wasn't this the condition that they had agreed on? Lei Changtian said indifferently. "I said that I would spare your lives. Of course, I won't go back on my word. However, don't you know how to count? What's a life?" The two Tao integration stage cultivators of the Wang family were instantly stunned. A life? What the fuck? Was there such a thing? A life? Didn't that mean? "Senior, what do you mean?" "It's very clear. This old man has said that I will spare your lives, and I will spare your lives. However, I will definitely not spare two lives." Lei Changtian said matter-of-factly. "I didn't say that I would spare your lives, did I?" The two Tao integration stage cultivators of the Wang family were dumbfounded. You have a cultivation level above the clouds and are at least in the primordial chaos realm. How can you say such shameless words? You gone too far. It's your lack of understanding. How can you blame me?" The two Tao integration stage cultivators roared and charged forward. Their eyes were bloodshot. They had been domineering their entire lives. When had they ever been played like this? "We almost became nannies for your grandson. In the end, you were playing us." Once this kind of anger rushed up, his lungs almost exploded. "We'll fight you to the death." The two Tao integration stage cultivators surged their spiritual energy and tried their best to activate their dantian. Their bodies suddenly expanded. Self-detonation. They wanted to self-detonate. Lei Changtian clasped his hands together. His hands, which were hundreds of feet long and wide, held the two Tao integration stage cultivators in his hands. Amidst the black smoke, two puffs sounded like two farts. One of the two Tao integration stage cultivators had already been reduced to a pile of mush. As for the other, his dantian had been destroyed, his divine sense had been sealed, his life essence had been split, and his essence had been shattered. Lei Changtian released his hands. The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family stood there. He seemed to have aged 10,000 years. He couldn't even stand up. He sat down on the ground with a thump. Looking at the corpse of his brother beside him, he suddenly howled into the sky. His voice was extremely miserable. "Leave your name, you old bastard. We've been destroyed by your hands in this life. We'll definitely repay you in our next life." He glared viciously at Lei Changtian. At this moment, all fear disappeared. All that was left was hatred. Lei Changtian said in surprise, "You're fucking dreaming. You're actually thinking about the next life. What do you want? You said yourself that you would spare our lives. Now, my brother has been killed by you, and I have been crippled by you. Could it be that you want to go back on your promise of sparing our lives?" The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family roared furiously. "The heavens have eyes. Aren't you afraid of divine retribution?" Lei Changtian said leisurely. "Of course I said that I'd spare your lives. But did I say that I'd let you go?" The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family's eyes widened to the extreme. He looked at Lei Changtian with grief and indignation for 3 lifetimes, crying tears of blood from his heart. "Old bastard, how could a person be as despicable as you?" Lei Changtian said matter-of-factly, "My big brother used to deal with me in the past. He was always so stingy with his words. Isn't it natural for me to learn from him?" "Who's your boss?" The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family asked furiously. A proud expression appeared on Lei Chantian's face. He said smugly, "My boss is." At this point, his expression suddenly changed. He became extremely vexed, self-reproach, disdain, and anger. He slapped him and said furiously, "What does this have to do with you? What's there to ask?" In anger, he slapped him twice more. He immediately fainted. "Grandpa, don't kill him," Zhuo reminded him. "You still have to ask why they're targeting me." Lei Changtian said, "Don't worry, he won't die." A gust of spiritual energy flashed past. The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family slowly regained consciousness. "Tell me, why is the Wang family plotting against my grandson?" Lei Changtian said, "Tell me honestly, and I'll let you go." However, the Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family was much smarter now. He said resentfully, "You let me go, but your grandson and granddaughter won't let me go. What's the use of that?" "Oh my." Lei Changtian's eyes widened. He's actually become smarter. The Tao integration stage cultivator of the Wang family closed his eyes angrily and turned his head to the side. "I've been tricked to this extent. If I still can't figure out what tricks you're playing, wouldn't I be an idiot?" The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Finally, he turned his head and spat on the ground. He closed his eyes and said disdainfully, "I can't believe there's such a shameless person like you in this world." Lei Changtian snorted and said, "You're also a Tao integration stage cultivator. Don't you know that there's a Dharma spell called soul searching in this world?" The Wang family cultivator trembled all over. "You can't live or die in front of me. Why do you want to suffer the pain of soul searching before you die? You won't have anything left anyway." Lei Changtian said patiently, "Soul searching." The Wang family cultivator suddenly burst into tears and howled in a hoarse voice. "But you won't believe me. Even if I tell you, you'll still have to soul search to verify it. Old bastard, hurry up if you want to soul search. Why do you have to play with me?" Lei Changtian didn't feel any sense of accomplishment. He cursed with a gloomy face. "Fuck, you shouldn't have been so smart earlier. Your IQ just has to be online now." Chapter 1128. In the end, Lei Changtian still performed a soul-searching on this Tao integration stage super mighty figure. After a soul-searching operation, the demon ancestor sighed softly and looked at the Wang family Tao integration stage super mighty figure, who was now like a pile of mud. "Which one of you is going to do it? I said that I would spare his life, so I will definitely spare his life. There is no falsehood, and there is no discount. But you two didn't say that, did you?" Zhuo and Zhuo both had the same thought. "Grandpa is so shameless." Then Zhuo turned to Zhuo and blinked her bright eyes. "Got it." Zhuo obviously couldn't let Zhuo do such dirty work. He stepped forward and smashed the Tao integration stage super mighty figure's head into pieces. Little White and Little Jiu happily came out to wander around. This was a Tao integration stage divine spirit. Since the two of them had made their debut, they had never devoured a divine spirit of this level. Today, they actually had 2 portions at once. They ate heartily, and the aftertaste was endless. Both of them had a good time, and their strength had increased significantly. Once they were done enjoying themselves, their Tao integration stage remnant souls would be completely annihilated in body and soul. "What's going on, Grandpa?" These two are already Tao integration stage super mighty figures, so they should be at the very top of the Wang family. Even if they don't know everything, they should at least know a lot about it, right? Zhuo asked. "This is really fucking complicated. It's not something that could be explained in a few sentences." Lei Changtian frowned. "We'll talk about it when we get back to our place. Sai, your father is so irresponsible. He left you two to do this alone. He's so careless and doesn't know how to take care of his children at all. What kind of father is this? What kind of son is this? This is too much. What kind of father is this? I really can't stand it." He complained as he returned with Zhuo. Zhuo was not used to her grandfather complaining about her father, but he was an elder. It was reasonable for the father-in-law to scold the son-in-law, as Zhuo rolled his eyes. He thought to himself, "You're such an old father-in-law. You're such a coward in front of my dad. Now that my dad isn't in front of you, you're acting all arrogant. That night in Shangjing was destined to be peaceful. After the Liu family and the Yu family returned, they immediately called for an emergency meeting with the upper echelons of the family. As for the Wang clan, the Shun clan, and the others, none of the people from the opposing clans returned. It was inevitable that some of the clans found it strange. After a while, they sent people out to search and inquire about the situation. But no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find even the slightest clue. What's more, they couldn't even find the clearest location of the incident, the Dingjun stage. Once the group of scouts got close to the Dingjun platform, they would encounter a strange atmosphere similar to that of ghosts going around in circles. They would end up getting further and further away. They couldn't even get close to the location of the incident. How could they find the relevant people? This strange situation lasted until 4:30 in the morning. With the crowing of the rooster, dawn came and the fog in front of them gradually dissipated. The scouts could finally enter the Dingjun stage. But after entering, they only saw broken wreckage and broken limbs all over the ground. Basically, every corpse that was still intact was decayed and dilapidated as if they had been dead for several years. Damn, what exactly happened? Why didn't even leave behind a fragment of the soul? Could it be that there was really a ghost last night? The more I think about it, the more horrifying it is. I wandered around here for almost the whole night, but I couldn't really get close. It's most likely that I encountered a ghost going around in circles. It didn't run away, isn't it? It's obviously nearby. But no matter how much I wandered around, I couldn't get close. There were a few times when I directly went out of the city. If it wasn't a ghost, what else could it be? Over the years, more and more people have died in Shangjing City. More than half of the people who died unjustly. After so many years, it's understandable that it finally exploded. It's reasonable. Thinking back to the things that the Wang family and the Shun family have done over the years, it's an understatement to say that they have done all kinds of evil. Now that the cycle of karma has come, it's karma. It should be said that this is the first paranormal incident in Shangjing in the past 1,000 years. The rumor spread from mouth to mouth, and it became more and more widespread. The supernatural incidents in Shangjing became a hot topic in a very short period of time. Translator, Nioibo Studio Editor. Nioibo Studio. In fact, there were quite a few people who came in contact with the paranormal incident at the Dingjun stage to a certain extent yesterday. There were really many people who took photos and videos from afar last night. Later on, they even saw the black fog rising from afar. It was rolling and rolling inside, as if there were countless ghosts howling excitedly inside. However, it was difficult to identify more specific things. Although the government took action to remove these videos and pictures at the first opportunity, the rumor of paranormal activity in Shangjing caused a great uproar. Only the few clans involved in the matter remained silent. The Wang family. Bam! The head of the family, Wang Han, slammed his hand on the table. Paranormal activity? What a load of nonsense. There must be other powerful beings who have entered the battle and used special techniques to obscure their vision. If it's just a paranormal activity, what kind of ghost would be able to kill a Dao integration stage cultivator? Even a Ghost King wouldn't be able to do that. A powerful being of at least the Dao integration pinnacle stage has entered Shangjing, and he's standing on the side of the Liu family. This is already confirmed. Last night, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan must have been present as well. Otherwise, the two 12th generation ancestors wouldn't have intervened and caused the situation to spiral out of control. There must be something fishy about this. Even if it's really a paranormal activity, it doesn't make sense that the Liu family members have returned while our people have all died there. Investigate. Investigate thoroughly. Now, the only thing the Wang clan could be sure of was that the Yu clan had also made a move in this battle. Yesterday, Hero Yu had held a welcoming dinner for Zhuo Xiaoduo, and it was such a grand occasion that almost everyone in Shangjing knew about it. The Wang clan and Liu clan's life and death battle had been decided on the military platform. Zhuo Xiaoduo had appeared at the military platform, and Hero Yu had most likely followed along as well. It was even possible that it was the Yu clan's handiwork to be able to produce an ability user above the Dao integration stage. However, they couldn't and didn't dare to cause trouble for the Yu family. There were also the Wu family and the Lu family. They had also made arrangements last night, and it was very likely that they had also entered the battle. Another key suspect was the Lu family. The Lu family was the invitee, and the Wang family could secretly invite allies. They could even secretly send a Dao integration stage cultivator as their trump card. Why couldn't the Lu family arrange other powerful beings? However, it was useless to ask the families on his side, because like him, they were all dead and naturally didn't know anything. If there were people who knew the truth, it would probably be the Yu family, the Wu family, the Lu family, and the Lu family. The Yu family definitely couldn't be provoked, and they didn't dare to provoke them. When it came to the Wu family and the Lu family, the leaders of the two families could easily push the blame away. We didn't go. It had nothing to do with us. You said we went? Bring out evidence? If it really came to this point, the situation would be very troublesome. There could be even more troublesome situations. If they were really forced into a corner, there was a very high chance that the other party would directly go in a battle. Fuck, you're too much of a bully. Who's afraid of who? Let's have another decisive battle on the battle stage. The Wang family was very clear about the hooligan ways of these families in Shangjing. Don't look at how each of them was more gentle, kind, and courteous than the other. However, when something really happened, each one of them would act like a hooligan, twisting words and forcing logic, and saying things that weren't right. As a result, only the Lu family was left to openly ask about this matter. Because the Lu family was the invitee, all the other families could deny and shirk responsibility, but the Lu family couldn't shirk responsibility. Pay attention to the news of the Lu family's fourth son, Lu Zhengyan. If you can catch him, catch him. If you can't, we'll pay him a visit. Wang Han faintly felt a huge sense of danger approaching in his heart. At this moment, he actually felt upset, and his heart was in turmoil. Two Dao fusing experts, two of the pillars of the Wang clan, had actually died without a sound yesterday. This was simply unbearable pain, an unbearable loss. Big brother, I'm afraid there's something strange about this matter. Wang Zhong, Wang Han's younger brother, had always been recognized as the brains of the Wang family. At this moment, he frowned and stroked his beard over and over again. He narrowed his eyes and said, I've sorted through all the clues related to yesterday's incident, and I've come up with an extremely terrifying conjecture. What conjecture? Just say it. Don't beat around the bush. Wang Han was in a state of turmoil, and he didn't hold back at all. You guys leave first, Wang Zhong said to the others. After these people left, Wang Zhong set up a soundproof barrier and then sat in front of Wang Han cautiously. Big brother, something's not right. Who doesn't know that something's not right? The question now is, where did it come from? I thought about it yesterday. The most fundamental source of this series of events is Zhua Xiaoduo, and the root cause is Qin Fangyang and He Yuanwei. The former is his teacher, and the latter is his principal. Can you say something I don't know? The main point. I want to hear the main point now. Big brother, don't worry. Here comes the main point. The company that's desperately trying to smear our reputation online is called Zhua Shui Company. After the incident with Qin Fangyang, the Minister Vigilant came to ancestral Dragon Gaolu as his first stop after coming out of seclusion. He even bluntly said that he was friends with Qin Fangyang. Do you still remember that the minister's surname is Zhua? Wang Zhong frowned and said, the terrifying conjecture I'm talking about is, with so many Zhuas gathered together, could there be a connection? As soon as Wang Zhong said this, Wang Han's expression changed drastically. He sat down on the chair, and sweat dripped down his head. He only felt that his heart was beating like a drum in an instant, and his mouth was dry for a moment. This can't be said carelessly. Of course, why would I say carelessly? There's a reason for this conjecture, Wang Zhong said. Big brother, think about it carefully. Zhua Shui Company is a Shao company, and with the power of our Wang family in both public and private affairs, and the power of both the good and the bad, we can't touch it. In this land of astral souls, what company can't even touch our Wang family? Chapter 1129. Last night, two Tao integration stage patriarchs died without a sound. How can such an accident be described as strange? Even if a powerful enemy joined the battle, even if it was a primordial chaos expert like the Marshal of the Four Directions, with the cultivation, strength, and battle prowess of our two ancestors, they wouldn't have died so silently, right? To be able to make two Tao integration stage experts die without a sound. The most conservative estimate is that the enemy's cultivation and strength are at least at the peak of the primordial chaos realm, or even higher. But how many almighty beings have reached this level, let alone the Astral Souls continent, even if we include the Umno Alliance continent and the Tao League continent? On the other hand, if we only include the Astral Souls continent, the left and right heavenly kings, Baiyan Fairy, and, at most, there are no more than 15. Boss, what do you think about this? Could it be? Wang Zhong's voice was trembling. His eyes flickered, and his face suddenly turned pale. Don't tell me it's really the minister's fault. Wang Han's whole body trembled. No, no, no. This is absolutely impossible. Why is it impossible? Wang Han moved quickly and quickly pulled out the information about Xiao Duo from the pile of investigation materials. Look carefully. This Zhua Xiaoduo's background is clear. Although his surname is Zhua Xiaoduo, his father is Zhua Changlu, and his mother is Wu Yuding. The life history of this family, from the birth of Zhua Xiaoduo to the present, and the resumes of his parents, are all well documented. It has nothing to do with the minister at all, right? Zhua Xiaoduo has only risen in recent years. Before that, he was a well-behaved student. Moreover, he was a good-for-nothing for so many years. If he is the son of the minister and his wife, how could he be like this? Even if he has some problems. What problems can the minister not solve? And that's with Xiaoyan. Although she has been known as a genius since she was a child, she entered the Kunlun Taoist sect to cultivate. Although the Kunlun Taoist sect can be considered a big sect, it can only be considered a small sect compared to the minister. Right? Everything is clear. Zhua Xiaoduo and Zhua Xiaoyan have nothing to do with the minister. They have nothing to do with each other. Wang Zhong sighed and said, Boss, why are you? What did I say, Zhua Xiaoduo and Zhua Xiaoyan? Pay attention to this report. He reached out and took the scroll beside him. It was the investigation file of Zhua Changlu and Wu Yuding. Take a look at Zhua Xiaoduo's parents. The life trajectory of this couple is indeed clear, but what about their relationship with their parents? This Zhua Changlu. Who is his father? Who is his mother? Who is his grandfather? There is nothing. And this Wu Yuding is also the same. There is no clear social relationship. Wang Zhong said, Boss, don't you think it is strange? This is the current survey of interpersonal relationships. But a person's life trajectory is not a problem. A deeper background is the key. Wang Han stared at the file. His lips trembled as he said, What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that this Zhua couple is the minister's descendant? But the three continents have already confirmed that the minister has no descendants in this world. Who said that they are the minister's descendants? Wang Zhong said, I am more inclined to say that this Zhua couple is the minister's clansman. Even if they're only his clansmen, we are still finished. Wang Handa shook his head. That's impossible. The minister's clansmen were all killed in battle before the minister rose to power. This part has been recorded for a long time. When the minister reached the Sky Realm, he went back to his birthplace to search for his clansmen. At that time, the one who accompanied the minister was my ancestor. My ancestor left behind a letter that mentioned this matter. The entire village had more than 2,000 people, but no one survived. After that, the minister, in order to take revenge, traveled all over the continent to search for his enemy. After his cultivation reached the peak, he killed a heavenly king of the Wu people. In that battle, that heavenly king of the Wu people, along with 300,000 soldiers under his command, was turned into ashes by the minister. Therefore, I can say with certainty that the minister has no descendants and no clansmen. This Zhua Chenglu Xiaoduo and Zhuoxiaoyan. Although their surnames are also Zhua, there is no way they are related to the minister. It is just a coincidence that they have the same surname. Wang Han said decisively, Wang Zhong, you've always been cautious. That's part of you, but don't be so paranoid and scare yourself. When we first identified Zhuoxiaoduo as the target, because of the words when I had already considered all the details, there's no such possibility at all. Wang Zhong said, but how do you explain today's matter? Who can mobilize such manpower? Who has the power to protect the Zhou clan to this extent? Wang Han's face was gloomy. He didn't speak for a long time. After a long time, he said, I'll say it again. Don't scare yourself. Think about it carefully. If the minister has a bloodline descendant, and if there's a clan related to the minister's bloodline in this world, it should be a clan that's more prosperous than the Yu clan, right? But in fact, is there such a prominent clan in the world? No. Think about it again. The things that our Wang clan has done over the years are indeed out of line. Naturally, there are many people who don't like us. Today, the whole Astral Soul's content's attention is on our Wang clan. What's so strange about hitting us when we are down? I have repeatedly investigated the Zhou clan's company. I can confirm that there are a few veterans in the Eastern Army and a few who used to work in the munitions factory. It is possible that the generals and the heavenly king of the right protected the company. But that is the limit. They will not do anything more. But how do you explain the Zhou in the Zhou clan's company? This has something to do with the big boss behind them. According to the investigation, the big boss behind the Zhou clan's company is an internet expert with a particularly rich background. Looking for his roots, it is either the Umno Alliance or the Tao League. It is obviously a smokescreen, but it also shows that he does not have a strong background. Otherwise, why would he be so careful? Also, this person's recent contact exposed a clue, but it was quickly erased. What clue was exposed? The so-called clue is actually the confirmation of the big boss's online name. It is called a clue, but it is actually useless. It is better than nothing. What is his name? Jingjing Cat. Jingjing Cat. Wang Zhong scratched his head. What is this name? His online name has always been strange. Maybe this person likes cats very much. Wang Han was a little impatient. He was shocked just now, and now he felt weak all over. He really did not want to talk anymore. It seems that spiritual thought goddess's nickname at home is Nian Nian Cat. Wang Zhong pondered. Why do I have a feeling that this company might belong to Zhuoxiaoduo? Huh? Wang Han was stunned. Yeah, this is really possible. If the company was really founded by Zhuoxiaoduo, then wouldn't the cause and effect be connected? Wang Hani slapped his thigh. Don't forget, according to the information we have, that Zhuoxiaoyan was adopted by the Zhuo couple. She has no blood relation to Zhuoxiaoduo. That's right, so it's possible. That explains why this company is called Zhuoshui. It's because Zhuoxiaoduo is the boss. Moreover, this brat always brags that he's handsome and often talks about it. Yes. Isn't everything correct now? No, it's still not right. If it's really the company founded by Zhuoxiaoduo, why are there so many big shots supporting him? Wang Zhong frowned and thought about it, but he still could not figure out this question. After going around in circles, the topic finally came back to that sensitive question. Wang Han and Wang Zhong looked at each other, both confused. In the military, in the real circle of high-ranking officials, we still don't have anyone. We can only guess based on the information we have. This is our biggest shortcoming. Wang Han sighed. I'll go to the Nian family this afternoon. The Nian family? I'll go personally and find out what they're thinking. I don't think it's the Yu family who did this, but the Nian family. This time I'll go there to find out what the Nian family's attitude is. Wang Han pondered and said, but what should we do about Zhuoxiaoduo? It's imperative that we target Zhuoxiaoduo. But if there's really such a master, a super master, who's always around Zhuoxiaoduo, we won't stand a chance at all. Wang Zhong frowned and asked, that's not a problem. If we can capture Zhuoxiaoduo, that'll be the best. If we can't, in the end, we'll have to use the blood sacrifice to expand the range to cover the entire capital. As long as Zhuoxiaoduo is still in the capital, we'll still be able to succeed, right? Wang Han said uncertainly. Big brother, this is a big deal. You have to be sure. Wang Zhong asked. Then I'll go ask the master again. We'll talk about it after we confirm the situation. Okay, I'll go. Be careful, big brother. After Wang Han left, Wang Zhong sat in the study with a sullen face and did not move for a long time. After a long time, he slowly walked out. He walked all the way to his courtyard and found his wife. Juan, there's something you need to deal with as soon as possible. It'd be best if you can finish it today. What is it? Our 7 youngest grandsons. Can you let your family take them away today? Tell them that they're your children. Or maybe a relative of the Yang family just gave birth to them. Things have actually gotten to this point. Chapter 11:30. Well, it's always good to be prepared. It's always good to have a backup plan. If the Wang clan can survive these last few months peacefully, everything will be fine. At that time, we could just find a random reason to bring them back. But if they can't, I'm afraid the Wang clan will cease to exist. They're still young. Leave them some life. Don't let the Wang clan really die. Wang Zhong sighed with melancholy. Cease to exist? His wife couldn't help but widen her eyes. It can't be, right? We're the god of war's family. How can it? There's nothing new under the sun. Retribution is never good. It's just that the time hasn't come yet. When the time comes, everything will be retribution. Wang Zhong said lightly. Hurry up and do it. Only you know about this. Don't tell anyone else. But this. The old lady's eyes flashed with hesitation. Only he knew that it was impossible because a lot of people would be involved in this matter if he wanted to succeed. What about the others who knew about it? They were all very close to him, and he couldn't just give them up just because he wanted to. This is the backup plan for the bloodline. It's urgent. Wang Zhong pondered for a while and said, You can do as you see fit. It's impossible that the children's parents don't know about this. It's good if these things are exposed. It'll be a better cover for the bloodline that was sent out. But all the previous relationships with the family must be cut off completely. Completely cut off. Understood. In Zhua Xiaoyan's courtyard, Lei Changtian clicked his tongue in wonder. In the inner city of Shangjing, where every inch of land is worth an inch of gold, my granddaughter actually has the money to buy a small courtyard house. After he learned about the growth of his grandson and granddaughter, he deeply felt that it was a miracle. It was a miracle in novels. They were the proper male and female protagonists. Zhou Xiaoduo puffed out his chest. He was so proud that his face glowed. He almost announced loudly, This daughter-in-law is mine. Zhou Xiaoyan blushed and said, This is all Dogda's money. I'm only responsible for spending it. No wonder. Based on the way he stirred up trouble and obtained resources in the Wizard Alliance, 1 meter taller sky is not enough to describe him. He must have a lot of wealth. Lei Changtian looked at Zhou Xiaoduo with gratification and said, Grandson, your cultivation is not low. Why don't you have a famous nickname until now? Look at your sister, the goddess of spiritual thoughts. What a nice name. Zhou Xiaoduo said, Why don't I have a famous nickname? My nickname, Iron Fist Young Master, is more or less popular. Forget it. What's your nickname? Nicknames are your name tags. People can give wrong names, but they can't give wrong nicknames. This is the principle. What kind of lousy name is that Iron Fist Young Master of yours? Lei Changtian glared at her. Grandpa will give you a nice name. So Xiaoduo humbly asked for advice. Grandpa, please go ahead. After thinking for a long time, Lei Changtian said, How about 3 miles higher in the sky? So Xiaoduo frowned. Obviously, he was extremely dissatisfied. What kind of lousy name was this? However, it was Grandpa who gave it, so Xiaoduo had to politely decline. I'll discuss this with my parents first. If it's okay, I'll use it. Lei Changtian was shocked and said, If you don't like it, we'll talk about it later. You don't have to discuss such a small matter with your parents. You don't have to tell them. Zhou Xiaoyan served the tea that had been brewed. Zhou Xiaoduo began to pour the tea. Grandpa, what did you find from the soul search? This was the most important thing at the moment. Zhou Xiaoduo didn't know if it was an illusion, but he always felt that his grandpa was a little out of tune. He didn't do anything important and always talked nonsense. Other than his extremely high cultivation level, he didn't have any other advantages. Of course, just his extremely high cultivation level alone was enough to make Xiaoduo kneel and lick his boots for a long time. It's really quite complicated. I haven't sorted it all out yet. Forget it. I'll just tell you directly. Lei Changtian put on the airs of a grandpa and said kindly, "It's like this." Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan sat upright in front of Lei Changtian and pricked up their ears at the same time. Ha ha ha. Lei Changtian laughed inexplicably, rocking back and forth. Duh. Zhuo Xiaoyan was curious. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" Zhuo Xiaoduo was also very interested. Was the Wang family's matter that funny? Ha. Seeing the two of you sitting upright and pricking up your ears, I suddenly thought of your nicknames, ha. Lei Changtian laughed until he couldn't catch his breath. Their nicknames? Sitting upright and pricking up their ears and their nicknames? Duo dog? Yin cat? Did we give you a sense of déjà vu just because we listened carefully? What's the connection? Suddenly, Zhuo Xiaoyan was speechless. Zhuo Xiaoduo's face was distorted. Lei Changtian was overjoyed and pointed at Zhuo Xiaoduo, duo dog. Then he pointed at Zhuo Xiaoyan, yin cat. After a pause, he said, "This is the nickname that suits the two of you best. It's really too vivid. Indeed, there are only wrong names but no wrong nicknames. The ancients didn't lie to me. They didn't lie to me. Ha. Lei Changtian's laughter shook the courtyard house. The siblings suddenly felt their worldview collapse. They looked at each other and saw the anger in each other's eyes, but they didn't dare to say anything. They finally understood the real reason why their parents didn't let Grandpa see them, even though they were already so old. That was way too out of place. I was waiting for you to talk about serious matters, but your thoughts flew tens of thousands of miles away. I'm so angry." Zhuo Xiaoyan pouted. "I'm so angry." Zhuo Xiaoduo puffed up his cheeks. "If you weren't Grandpa, I would have smashed you with a hammer." The siblings looked at Lei Changtian, who couldn't stop laughing. They could clearly see the demon ancestor's tongue jumping happily in his big mouth. "Grandpa!" The two of them shouted at the same time. Their voices were very loud, unprecedentedly loud, and a little deafening. Ha. Cough. Lei Changtian suddenly stopped laughing and coughed a few times. He probably felt embarrassed. Suddenly laughing like this really damaged Grandpa's mighty and kind image. "I'm not joking about your names. Actually, I thought of a little wolf dog sitting on the ground with its ears up. No, actually, the front line of the Sun Moon Pass was very badly fought. Very badly." Lei Changtian hurriedly changed the topic. Zhuo Xiaoyan. Zhuo Xiaoduo. Lei Changtian could only pick up the teacup and take a sip to hide his embarrassment. Finally, with a gulp, he poured the tea into his mouth, chewed and swallowed, and said, "Good tea." Then he asked, "Were we just now?" The two of them were speechless. "We were talking about what you found when you searched our souls." Oh. Lei Changtian's train of thought finally returned to its original position. He said, "It's actually very simple. That's all. The Wang family is planning to do something big. They're gathering luck. Isn't this the time when the dragons are fighting for the bloodline? It just so happens that some other opportunities are also gathering at this time. In order to accomplish this, they need a carrier, or rather, a sacrifice. And the choice of this sacrifice is no small matter. In addition to possessing extremely strong fate energy, the person's cultivation must also be at a certain level. It's not easy to have these two characteristics at the same time, but Xiaoduo, you're recognized as the continent's #1 genius. Moreover, you have great fortune and great fate energy. Therefore, the Wang family plans to sacrifice Xiaoduo to trigger an explosion of fate energy. Then they'll use some special method to seize the fate energy of the dragons fighting over the veins, as well as the fate energy from the heavenly secrets, and let the Wang family monopolize it. It's best to pour it all into one person. If this wishful thinking succeeds, then the fate energy of the beneficiary will be favored by heaven and earth. After all, it's all of Xiaoduo's fate energy, all of the dragons' fate energy from the dragons fighting over the veins, and all of the heaven and earth's fate energy from the heavenly secrets. If all of it is gathered in one person, Wouldn't it seize the fortune of heaven and earth and create an earth-shattering legend of a genius? Lei Changtian said, "That's basically what it is. If you don't understand anything, I'll explain it in detail." Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan were completely confused and didn't know what was going on. "We don't understand at all," the two of them said in unison. "What the hell are you talking about? Are you asking you to make an outline? Even if you're writing an outline for a novel, it doesn't seem to be as simple as you. Although there are geniuses who never use an outline when writing novels, such as Wind Conquers the World. But can you be compared to that person's brain? The more detailed situation is more or less like this. About 200 years ago, the Wang family obtained a mysterious secret record. It looks like a very, very ancient thing. No one knows how many years it has existed in the world, and there are a few sentences in it that look very much like a description of a prophecy. This secret record is very magical. All the words are very ordinary on it. However, as long as one sentence is interpreted correctly, these few words will light up on the secret record, and the other words together that are not interpreted correctly will remain dark. This is an extremely magical phenomenon. What's the content? Zhuo Xiaoduo asked. Lei Changtian pondered and recalled. The content is the great calamity descends upon the world, the extinction of all life, destruction followed by establishment, defeat followed by success. The sun and the moon pass through the sky. Ice and fire are of the same origin. The hidden dragon rises out of the sea. The phoenix dances in the 9 heavens. In a world of great fortune, the prodigies gather. The dragon veins rise. The heavenly fortune descends to the mortal world. On the day of the phoenix's rush, the hidden dragon rises out of the abyss. At the time of extreme yang, the earth turns upside down. Heaven and earth, the universe, gather at one pass. If one person obtains it, even his chickens and dogs will ascend to heaven. The blood of the dragon's luck is sacrificed in front of the door. The glory of 10,000 generations will be passed down forever. It took the Wang family a full 200 years to decipher these few sentences, and in the eyes of the higher-ups of the Wang family, this matter is inseparable from the dragons fighting for the dragon veins. As long as they can maximize the use of this great opportunity that fell from the sky, the Wang family will be able to ascend to heaven. However, this is all that is recorded in the secret record, and there is no more specific way to do it. Most of the content was blurry and unclear. Probably a few decades ago, the Wang family met a master, and through this master's interpretation, the content became much clearer. Chapter 1131. All these years, the Wang family did not give up on deciphering this secret record. As time passed and the world changed, more and more of the contents of this secret record were verified. The higher-ups of the Wang family felt that the time for the secret record to be fully deciphered was coming. As time passed, the Astral Souls continent suddenly ushered in the year of an explosion of geniuses. Countless geniuses appeared like a geyser. Then, in the second half of this year, the Wang family finally deciphered the entire contents of this prophecy. When the great calamity descends, all life will be exterminated. This refers to the calamity that destroyed the world. Destruction, establishment, defeat, and success. This is the current tripartite balance of the star witchcraft Tao. Sun and moon shock the heavens. Ice and fire come from the same origin. Hidden dragon emerges from the sea. Phoenix dances in the 9 heavens. These 4 sentences should be interpreted to the two of you. Cultivation techniques and Xiaoyan's Phoenix Meridian Soul Rush. After that, in the era of great fortune, prodigies will gather together. This is exactly what happened in the past 2 years. Then, the Dragon Meridian will rise, and heavenly fortune will descend to the mortal world. This is naturally referring to the Dragon Meridian incident, and heavenly fortune will descend on the mortal world. On the day of extreme yang, the world will turn upside down. This should be referring to this year's day of extreme yang, which is the 25th of May. And this day is also the day when the Dragon Meridian incident takes place. Heaven and earth will gather at this stage. If one person obtains it, all his fowls and dogs will ascend to heaven. This means that on that day, the power of heaven and earth can gather all this fortune on one person. As long as one succeeds, all his fowls and dogs will ascend to heaven. As for the blood of Dragon Meridian incident before the sacrificial ceremony, at least in the Wong family's understanding, it refers to you, Xiao Duo, being recognized as the heir of the blood of Dragon Meridian incident. As long as your blood is sacrificed, the Wong family will be able to obtain this opportunity. From then on, the glory of the Wong family will be passed down for eternity. Lei Zhangtian said, "That's all the content that the Wong family had found a master to decipher." However, because their contact was very secretive, even the Wong family's Dao integration stage experts are not clear about the master's specific identity. They only know that this person exists. All in all, the Wong clan firmly believes in this prophecy, which is why they have made such a series of moves. This was because the carrier of this prophecy had another very magical effect. As long as the contents of the secret record were interpreted correctly, the corresponding sentence would light up. Previously, as they were unable to determine who the carrier of the dragon vein was, the last few sentences did not light up no matter how they interpreted it. But last year, as your name became more and more famous, it finally reached the ears of the Wong family. Once, they unconsciously interpreted your name, so Xiao Duo, and the relevant words lit up. At this point, after reading your name, the entire prophecy carrier shone like a light bulb. There was not a single word that was gloomy anymore. This phenomenon strengthened the confidence of the Wong family's upper echelons. Do you understand now? Under such circumstances, not to mention the Wong family, as long as they know the contents of the prophecy, no one will doubt it. And as long as you, Zhua Xiaoduo, are sacrificed during the Dragon Vein Scramble, the Wong family can let their prodigy disciples reap all the benefits of this Dragon Vein Scramble and the heaven and earth opportunity. From then on, they will achieve meteoric success. Perhaps they will be even more impressive than the minister and the emperor. No matter what the final outcome is, at least this hope is the greatest hope of the Wong family. They will not regret it even if they die 100 times. Therefore, for the Wong family, everything has already reached the final stage. As long as you, Zhua Xiaoduo, are sacrificed, everything will be over. They will wait for the great success. The Wong family has already made all the other preparations. Therefore, they used the series of events such as killing Qin Fanyang and digging up a Yuanyue's grave to lure you to the capital. In this way, with your character, you will definitely come. And as long as you come, you will never be able to escape from the Wong family's control. As long as you come, you will either die here or the Wong family will be destroyed by your hands. Other than that, there will be no third way to make you leave. However, in the Wong family's judgment, even if you are a prodigy and have extraordinary strength, you are still a junior from the border. You have no status, no background, and no support. What is there to fear? In fact, if not for the minister's strong intervention after Qin Fanyang's death, the Wong family would have acted even more unscrupulously. They would have even attacked you directly. After all, on the surface, the two sides cannot be reconciled. Only one side can be completely destroyed. And if anyone were to judge, it would only be you, a junior, who will die. After that, no one would pursue this matter. This is also where the confidence of the descendants of the god of war comes from. Basically, this is the Wong family's plan. Do you understand now? Do you understand? Lei Changtian finished his explanation. So Xiaoduo heaved a deep sigh. He had already guessed most of the reasons and even the process from what he had encountered during this period of time. However, he didn't know the most crucial part. He really shouldn't have let his grandfather search his soul like this, that he really should have interrogated that Wong family Dao integration expert personally. Apart from being more specific and concrete, the basic framework and ideas were actually similar to what he had guessed. It had nothing to do with the main point. Grandpa, what's really important now is how do they plan this? Who are they collaborating with? Apart from the Wong family, who is that master of deciphering? How can he decipher the secret records that the Wang family has been unable to decipher for 200 years? What more specific plans do they have? How do they want to deal with this when the time comes? So what Xiao Duo said in distress. These are the most important things. I know these things are important, but they are not in the memories of that guy's divine spirit. Lei Changtian was also very distressed. Let's put it this way. The two Dao integration experts of the Wang family are like the stabilizing pillars of the family. And these kinds of people usually don't participate in the family's decision-making. They only stand out to protect the family at critical moments or facilitate some important goal. That's enough. It's not that they don't have the right to know these things. It's just that these things are no longer important to people of their level. Their status has already been determined. They only need to know that this matter is very important to the family and that they know the general process. Everything else is not important. They only need to know that at certain critical moments, they have to take action. That's all. And now, that's exactly what they're doing. It's the same for your life and death. Today, their final goal is to capture you and completely control your life and death. Even though their Wang family wants to sacrifice you, they need to do it at a suitable time. It can't be early, it can't be late. You have to die on that day. Do you understand? So now, the first key they have to ensure is that you can't leave Shangjing. And to achieve this goal, the safest way is naturally to capture you. That's why the two of them are here today. That's all. The so-called intervention of the Wang family, Shan family, and other families is just a minor detail. Or rather, it's just a smokescreen to capture you. Lei Changtian said with a hint of melancholy. As for the many details of this matter, how it was carried out, who was in charge, how the needle was threaded, and even how the venue was set up, these are completely irrelevant to these old antiques. They are completely unimportant. The only useful information is that in the entire Wang family, there are only two people who are in charge of this matter or qualified to participate in the operation of this matter. Lei Changtian suddenly paused and revealed an embarrassed expression. Do you know who they are? So Xiao Duo immediately asked. One is the head of the family, Wang Han, and the other is the head's younger brother, Wang Zhong, who is recognized as the brains of the Wang family. Apart from these two people, no one else knows the details. So Xiao Duo slapped his thigh and said, Grandfather, this is the really useful information. Lei Changtian coughed twice and rolled his eyes. The way this kid slapped his thigh was really like his father, and his tone was also like his father's. I really want to beat him up. So what you're saying is that I've been busy for half a day and have said a basket of unimportant things, but not a single important thing? Is that what you mean? You deserve to be beaten up. You deserve to be spanked. The kind of spanking that blossoms. So Xiao Duo breathed a sigh of relief and thought to himself, fortunately, I asked a few more questions. Grandfather's brain really makes me worried. He said a basket of unimportant things, but almost forgot the important things. It was fortunate that the old man's cultivation level was so high that it shocked the world. Otherwise, what would have happened? No, his cultivation base is shocking, but his brain is not good. Who knows? He might get into big trouble. I have to be careful. I have to be careful. Now that we know who the specific target is, things will be much easier. That's what Xiao Duo said excitedly. I'm just afraid that we don't have a specific target. Now that we have a confirmed target, we can complete this task in one night. What do you want to do, kid? Lei Changtian stared at him. Grandfather, you're a layman. Although we're in a society ruled by law, and nothing can be accomplished without rules, and power and influence are the rules, in the eyes of cultivators who have entered the Tao, isn't the power of the fist the real reason? The task that I want to complete can be said to be quite difficult for the two of us. It requires hundreds of plans, thousands of calculations, and a lot of luck. It's easy to lose everything. But for you, it's a piece of cake. So Xiao Duo flattered him eagerly. Grandfather, as long as you personally go and capture Wang Han and Wang Zhong, then we can interrogate them or search their souls. Everything will be clear, won't it? So Xiao Duo already wanted to win without doing anything. His grandfather was the fiend ancestor. Such a trivial matter was a piece of cake for him. It was as easy as blowing off dust. Chapter 1132. Swishaoduo said eagerly, "Of course, if you want to save some trouble, you can help us take down all the Wang family and the families that colluded with them to do this. You don't have to worry about killing people. Just leave this kind of rough work to me. As long as you can control all of them, I will naturally kill them one by one with my sword. Then we will have our revenge. How easy and pleasant it will be. There will be a lot of benefits. As a 10,000-year-old aristocratic family, they must have a lot of wealth. The three of us will definitely return with a bountiful harvest. 2 piles of gold will not be a problem." The more Swishaoduo spoke, the more excited he became. He deeply felt the benefits of being the 3rd generation. He didn't have to do anything. He just had to lie at home and wait for his enemies to be captured. He would wake up, wash his face, brush his teeth, and lazily go out. He would treat it as if he was practicing his swordsmanship. He would tie those people up and line up to kill them one by one. Then he would have his revenge. It was just that easy. This was a textbook example of lying down to win a life. Otherwise, he would be willing to be the 2nd generation. This was a risk-free and profitable job. It wasn't tiring at all. He just had to drink some tea and be done with it. My life seems to have reached its peak. It doesn't matter how long this kind of life lasts. For thousands of years, I'll enjoy it and forget to go back. I'll forget my worries and get what I want. I'll enjoy it so much that I won't think of home." Swishaoduo narrowed his eyes. It felt good. Lei Changtian widened his eyes. "What the hell? You mean, I'll go out and capture them? Then I'll capture them and search their souls for interrogation. After the interrogation, I'll go and capture them. I'll capture these thousands of people, line them up, tie them up, and make them kneel here. Then you'll come out and kill them one by one. That's it. Then you'll be able to get your hands on a mountain of gold." The demon ancestor's voice was very strange. "How did it become my business?" "Yes, that's exactly what I mean. However, it's not just me alone, but the 3 of us. Think about it. We're not targeting just the Wang clan alone. We're targeting a few clans. So how can we not reap a lot of benefits?" Swishaoduo said matter-of-factly, "Grandpa, you see, this is the most direct result. Nian and I won't be in any danger. We won't have to go out and take risks. We won't have to fight with others. We won't be killed or sacrificed to the gods. We'll be safe and you won't have to worry about us, right? And for an old man like you, it's not a difficult thing and it's not that tiring. Just think of it as an old man going out for a walk after breakfast to loosen his muscles and bones, digest the food, and exercise his body. Well, morning exercise, right? Isn't that right? Such a small matter is nothing to you." Swishaoduo said matter-of-factly. "Besides, you're my grandfather. Isn't it only right for you to avenge me? That's right. If I don't ask you for help, who else can I ask for help, right? Why would we bother others when we can do it ourselves? If you ask me, if you don't help me, you dear grandson, then it would be strange." Lei Changtian nodded and then couldn't help but scratch his head. "You're right. It's only right for me to avenge my dear grandson. Well, why do I feel like something's not right? What's wrong with that? Nian Cat and I are your treasures." Swishaoduo said, "Grandpa, please help us." Swishaoyan said, "Grandpa, please help us." Lei Changtian scratched his head. He was a little confused. He stared blankly for a while, and then turned to look at Swishaoduo. Then, "I'm done." "What are you going to do?" Swishaoduo said in surprise. "What am I going to do? Didn't I just say it? Didn't I take charge of the whole situation and kill these people to avenge my teacher? The last and most important dirty work has to be done by me." Lei Changtian said angrily, "Can I kill these people? Can I kill them? Do I need you to kill them?" Swishaoduo said, "Grandpa, think about it carefully. If you kill them yourself, you're just enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. If you don't, it's just a matter of convenience. But no matter how you look at it, you're not avenging my teacher. You're not justified. We still have to figure out the logic of this." Swishaoduo said earnestly, "Grandpa, we're here to avenge, not to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. Lei Chantian felt more and more confused. Why? Why? Suddenly, this job is all mine? But why does it sound so reasonable? What is this saying? No. The devil ancestor shook his head. Why should I do this? I have to do all the work. It doesn't feel right. And I don't even have a proper title. Why did you do this? Zhuo Xiaoduo was surprised. You're my grandpa, my biological grandpa. If you don't help me, who will? You're my grandpa. You're helping your grandson out and doing something small. This. Do you want extra remuneration? Do you want us to give you a salary? Lei Chantian said angrily. Who said anything about remuneration? What did I say that? Then you mean, you're my grandpa, so you should do all these things? You don't need remuneration? Yes, it's very necessary. It's just that you don't need remuneration. Lei Chantian really felt that his brain was turning to mush. He was getting more and more confused. Okay, then I understand. Originally, when I was going to confiscate the property, I was going to split the profits into 3 portions. Since you didn't want to do so, I won't force you. Just treat it as your reward to us. As the saying goes, one doesn't dare to refuse a gift from an elder. Zhuo Xiaoduo said happily. Zhuo Xiaoduo said these words with absolute confidence and confidence. Grandpa doesn't want to help me? What a joke. Is there a need to say this? Grandpa is just helping his grandson out a little. How can he have the cheek to share the profits of other people's children? This doesn't make sense. Saying that one doesn't dare to refuse a gift from an elder. This is the end, the end. Lei Chantian felt his brain was in a mess. He held his head and said, wait, let me think. So Xiaoduo was puzzled. I've already explained it so clearly. Why can't you understand? This shouldn't be. This doesn't make sense. What are you thinking? Grandpa, you're acting so strange. So Xiaoduo said in confusion. I just don't understand. Which family doesn't step up when the younger generation is bullied? As the saying goes, when the younger generation is beaten up, the older generation will step up. Isn't this the current situation of the world? Why is it that when it comes to us? Why are you suddenly refusing? You've been in seclusion all this time and didn't even know about my existence. There's nothing to say. Now that you've come out of seclusion and reappeared in the world, why can't you stand up for me? Lei Chantian frowned and thought, I'm not refusing. Zhuo Xiaoduo's expression changed immediately. He cried and said, Grandpa, you don't love me. Zhuo Xiaoyan also frowned and asked pitifully, Grandpa, why don't you help us? Well, although Zhuo Xiaoyan didn't have any dirty thoughts like Zhuo Xiaoduo, her thoughts were habitually following Zhuo Xiaoduo's. After so many years, she had long been used to it. Although Zhuo Xiaoduo's words were fallacious, they were the most common things in the secular world. It could be said that his words were reasonable. At this time, Zhuo Xiaoyan naturally followed Zhuo Xiaoduo's tone. Lei Chantian was completely dumbfounded. This still can't stop trembling. Bai Yunduo kept transmitting her voice in his ear. Don't interfere, please don't interfere again. Zhuo Xiaoduo asked his grandpa for help with tears in his eyes. Why don't you do it? Why don't you help me? Why? Let me think. Lei Chantian held his head. Bai Yunduo seemed to have a point. If I could interfere, then when my master came to Shangjing, he would have directly arrested all these people and waited for junior brother to behead them. Wouldn't it be over? Why would I need you? To put it bluntly, Bai Yunduo's words were very rude, but they were very reasonable. Wasn't it to train junior sister and junior brother to deal with half of the matter and leave the other half behind? Besides, what's the point of doing everything directly? If you don't train in the mainland, do you really want to go to the battlefield to experience life and death? Wouldn't that be more dangerous? Are you able to get rid of all of little Duo Yu's enemies in this lifetime? Then what's the point of him cultivating? From now on, he can just lie down and be a salted fish. When Lei Chantian heard this, he seemed to have understood. When he turned his head again, he saw Zhuo Xiaoduo half lying on the sofa. His body was so lazy that it seemed to have no bones. His hands were behind his head, and his legs were crossed well. He really looked like a standard salted fish. It seemed that after this kid knew his identity, he had started to win by lying down. What a standard way to lie down. Bai Yunduo kept complaining through telepathy in the air. I told you not to do anything. Not to do anything. Even if you want to do something, it's enough to do it secretly. You can't do it personally. You loved your grandson, so you wanted to leave a good impression. You wanted to go down. Now look, what my master is most afraid of is that junior brother's salted fish personality suddenly exploding. Once there's a strong person around him, he won't do anything even if he's beaten to death. To him, there's no other choice. Now that you've shown up, you've confirmed his identity as a third-generation cultivator. Won't he directly enter salted fish mode? If junior brother didn't know your identity, it would have been fine. But now he clearly knows that you're the demon ancestor, the strongest person in the 3 continents that no one dares to provoke. Now, look, isn't he starting to become a salted fish? Look at what you've done. If master and mistress find out. The title of this chapter is just like what I'm doing now. It's a bit confusing. From a long time ago, when Xiao Duo encountered something, many of his brothers were looking forward to it. Fathers should do something. Mothers should do something. I'm thinking about this. Do I need to write it down? If I write it down, will you think that I'm preaching? It's a bit confusing. I need to sort it out. Chapter 1133. Duo was really anxious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spoken so rudely. This Lord Devil ancestor was really incapable of accomplishing anything but good at ruining things. Look at what he had done now. He had turned the tense and indignant journey of revenge into a spring outing and a wantonly accumulating wealth that, however, was what Xiao was thinking was completely right. There was a way to save physical strength and time. Why did he have to make a fuss over nothing? Why did he have to spend so much effort? Wouldn't that be like taking off his pants to fart? Anyway, his purpose was only revenge. He had asked someone to help him take revenge with his own hands. The result was the same. Wasn't it revenge? Was it not helping Li Qinglong, Long Yuxing, and the others taking action with him? If we didn't have a grandfather, then I met Uncle Nan by chance and asked Uncle Nan to help me deal with the enemy. Was that not revenge? Using tyrannical force was revenge. Using scheming was revenge. Using group wisdom and group effort to exchange benefits was also revenge. Then, using family ties to achieve the goal of revenge was also revenge. Was it not revenge? That was outrageous. Since Grandpa was in front of him, why should he give up what was close at hand and seek what was far away? Why do I have to go through painstaking efforts to take revenge? Why do I have to take the risk of being half dead and covered in wounds? What was wrong with this logic? Lei Tian covered his head and didn't know what to do for a moment. Suddenly, the Lord Devil ancestor lay on the sofa, frowning and groaning. Why did I suddenly have a headache? It seems that the old injury has relapsed. I'll lie down for a while. Is there a bedroom? I'd better find a quiet place to discuss with Duo. My brain is a mess now. No matter how I think about it, something is wrong. So Xiaoyan hurriedly asked with concern, Grandpa, were you feeling unwell? I have a lot of good medicine here. It's okay. I'll be fine after a while. It's an old injury of more than 10,000 years. Ordinary medicine is useless. Lei Tian hurriedly refused. Under Xiaoyan's worried gaze, he entered the guest room and slammed the door shut. Outside, Xiaoduo was lying on the sofa, swinging his legs and singing, "Being invincible is so lonely. Being invincible is so empty. Eating and waiting for death is so blissful. Winning without doing anything is so refreshing. Oh. Obviously, Xiaoduo was really happy at this moment. Xiaoyan looked at Xiaoduo anxiously and hesitantly. Finally, she pouted and asked, Doggy, you really want a salted fish? You haven't even ascended yet. Xiaoduo grinned, winked, and sighed. I'm just afraid that Teacher Qin and the old principal will wait too long. If they can't wait and reincarnate, they won't be able to see me avenge him. Lei Tian shrank into his room and set up several layers of soundproof barriers in one breath. His expression was unprecedentedly complicated. He felt that he had made a huge mistake and ruined some of his plans. What should he do? Duo, who was hiding in the sky, was completely anxious. This demon ancestor was simply a super shit stirrer who couldn't do anything right. The situation was out of control. Now that he had caused it to this point, what should they do next? How could they continue? Master and mistress were worried about this change, so they didn't reveal their identity, background, cultivation, and strength. They completely blended into the ordinary. You, on the other hand, exposed everything the moment you showed up. If we could intervene directly, you wouldn't have a chance to do it. It's just the Wong family. Either Xiaohu or I would be able to wipe them out instantly. Look at the situation now. How am I going to explain it to master and mistress? Bai Yunduo was so anxious that she stomped her feet in the air. Her elegant demeanor was gone. If Lei Chantian completely triggered little junior brother's salted fish attribute, Bai Yunduo guaranteed that her master and mistress would flip out when they came back. They would flip out extremely. When that time came, this demon ancestor would most likely be beaten into a demon pig. His entire body would swell up, and he would have a pig's head and pig's face. Aren't I just concerned about the child? Lei Chantian defended himself weakly. The child is being bullied by the adults outside. Are we supposed to just watch from the sidelines? They don't care about the child. I'm just a distant relative. Distant relative means that you're only showing your face when you're in your 20s, right? Bai Yunduo said mercilessly. How dare you? Lei Chantian flew into a rage out of humiliation. Junior, how can you say that? Even mistress doesn't dare to talk to me like that. Bai Yunduo choked for a moment. After a long while, she nodded. All right, I'll find mistress to talk to you. I also want to know what mistress will say to you. Don't. However, Bai Yunduo had already left in a fit of anger. He did something wrong, but he didn't allow others to talk about it. Now, he was even using his seniority to pressure others that I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. It's up to you now. Lei Zhangtian heaved a long sigh. He took out his phone and dialed his daughter's number. He murmured, Fine, I'll say it myself. This couple doesn't care about their child. Are they in the right? They don't care about the child after having it. It's better not to have it. His finger hovered over the button for a long time. Finally, he gritted his teeth, closed his eyes, and pressed the button. Dao League Mainland. Sanqing Holy Mountain. Taoist Yin stood up from the ruins with his face covered in dust. He said sullenly, Sister-in-law, you've been sparring for a few days now. My old bones have been torn apart by you 14 or 15 times. It's about time. Wu Yuding stood with her sword in hand and said with a smile, Big brother Yin, what are you talking about? I feel that I have benefited a lot from this time seclusion. I have gained a lot of understanding regarding the great Tao of martial arts, but I still need the tempering and stimulation of battle formations before I can truly comprehend and integrate it into myself. But this kind of comprehension can only be understood and not explained. We are all experts in cultivation, so how can we not understand this simple logic? Besides, we can also enlighten all of you through battle. I'm just worried that you won't be able to comprehend it in a short period of time. That's why I'm sparring a few more times. You'll occasionally be hit by me when you're distracted. However, it's still much easier than fighting the demons in the future, right? I'm really doing this out of kindness, out of sincerity, out of kindness, and out of sincerity. The faces of the 5 Taoists on the scene were filled with grievances. Easy? Even if the demons really come, they probably won't be as cruel as you. Taoist Yin and Taoist Feng were fine, but Taoist Yu, Taoist Shuang, and Taoist Snow were both sullen and innocent. What does your grudge have to do with us? It really has nothing to do with us. This woman is so cruel with a smile. I can't take it anymore. Sister-in-law, that Xiao duo who targeted your family has nothing to do with us. In fact, it doesn't even have anything to do with us. Taoist Snow twisted his mouth. He bent over and straightened his thigh, aimed at the broken part, and caught it. Then, he hurriedly injected a stream of natural essence into it to heal the wound. His wound healed at a visible speed, but the pain he felt during the process wasn't lessened at all. Wu Yuding smiled and said, Brother Snow, what are you talking about? Our sparring session this time has nothing to do with my son and daughter's matters. It's precisely because I want my 5 brothers to experience the grand Tao profundities that we comprehended during closed-door cultivation, and it's for the sake of preparing for the great battle in the future. You must know that even if one's strength is slightly stronger, it might cause one's strength to be insufficient at that time. This slight difference might be the difference between life and death. The difference between life and death. We're all cultivators with some level of cultivation. Little sister's actions are really for the good of you big brothers. Taoist, you gave a bitter smile and said, "Thank you so much, sister-in-law. You're so considerate." Wu Yuting said, "You flatter me. We are allies, and our friendship is deep. In order to prevent my brothers from feeling aggrieved and resentful when they see the geniuses of other clans and want to destroy them but can't defeat them, I have no choice but to work hard and reluctantly do it." Taoist Snow sighed and said, "Sister-in-law, I promise nothing like that will ever happen again. I'll fight to the death with whoever does that again." As he spoke, Taoist Snow, Taoist Yu, and Taoist Shuang glared at Taoist Feng and Taoist Feng. Their eyes were full of unspeakable resentment. "It's all because of you two. I can't even leave after getting beaten up." Both Taoist Feng and Taoist Feng lowered their heads. "What the? We didn't want this. But who knew this woman would be so cruel?" In this competition, Taoist Feng and Taoist Yun were beaten up the most. It was the kind of ruthlessness where every bone in his body had been broken several times from head to toe. Wu Yuting was merciless. Every time she beat them up, she urged them to recover quickly so that it would be convenient for another round. Taoist Yun acted shamelessly on purpose and refused to have his injured leg fixed. Therefore, Wu Yuting gave him a good beating without giving him a chance to explain. With a broken leg, of course, Wu Yuting would beat him even harder. This time, Zhuo Chonglu and his wife came to the Dao League's Three Pure Ones Hall for a visit after settling their affairs in Shangjing. They called it a visit since they hadn't seen each other for many years to improve their relationship. Then, Taoist Thunder and Taoist Lightning really improved their relationship. So Chonglu dragged them to discuss Dao. As for the remaining 5 people, Taoist Thunder arranged good work for them. "The 5 of you spar with my sister-in-law. At the same time, you can experience the aura of the great Dao that my sister-in-law obtained from her seclusion. At the same time, you can help her stabilize her current realm." Then, he left with Zhuo Chonglu. In the beginning, the 5 of them were full of confidence. "You're just a woman. Even if you're the demon ancestor's daughter and the minister's wife, aren't you just a junior? As her big brothers, we'll let you experience what it means to be a senior." Who would have thought that they would discover that Wu Yuting's cultivation had already completely suppressed all of them after exchanging blows with her? They were beaten up miserably. Their so-called demeanor of senior was all gone. It was only at this point that they realized that the 5 of them had been heartlessly abandoned by their own boss. Big brother and second brother went in to receive benefits, leaving the 5 of them here to let his wife vent her anger. Chapter 1134. Wu Yuting did not seem to know what fatigue was. She would beat anyone she met to death. His fists hit his flesh, his limbs were broken, his internal organs were injured, his body was covered in cuts and bruises, and his body was riddled with scars. None of this was a problem, and he had to repeat it over and over again. Round after round, the cracking sounds were like a nightmare to the 5 Taoists. They could only go up and be beaten up one by one, and they could not gang up on her, because this was a spar, a discussion of Tao, a friendly interview. The 5 Taoists were so aggrieved that their hearts were about to explode. Especially later on, Wu Yuting, who had gone through a series of fierce battles, actually improved again. When she used her famous ultimate skills, Cold Sword of Mountains and Rivers, Frost Rain, and Meteor Shower, the power level was more than 1 level higher than before. When other people's sword light danced, it was basically a series of sword light shooting out. However, when Wu Yuting's sword light started, it was like a series of shining raindrops in the dark night. It was like a meteor that swept wildly in all directions. That the sword moves became more and more violent as time went by. Gradually, the quantity changed to the quality, turning raindrops into hailstones. Every raindrop and hailstone contained more or less traces of destructive power. Although Wu Yuting gradually restrained her power during the process of unleashing the sword energy, The sword wounds on the 5 Taoist bodies only became more painful. Even their souls were hurt. After 3 days of sparring, the 5 Taoists felt as long as 5,000 years. They were not even allowed to rest at night. Later on, the wind and cloud Taoists tore off their skin and apologized. But no matter how they apologized, Wu Yuding just ignored them and turned a deaf ear to them. Big brothers, you are thinking too much. I am not here to vent my anger for my son. I am also not here to take revenge for my daughter. I am here to spar. I am very satisfied with the results of this spar. Just for such a big harvest this time, I have to express my gratitude to you, my brothers. We have not seen each other for a long time. I have to take a good look at all of you. These reasons came out of her mouth. None of them were repetitive. After being beaten up for 3 days in a row, the 5 Taoists were completely overwhelmed by the feeling of being unable to escape from the nightmare, which was worse than death. The most important thing was that they couldn't fall out with her. They didn't dare to fall out with her. Her husband was inside, discussing the Tao. This was a huge favor. Could it be that you're enjoying the kindness of others while fighting for your life with his wife? How is this something a human would do? Someone who could do such a thing was not human. Finally, one morning, Changlu, Taoist Thunder, and Taoist Lightning ended their discussion and walked out side by side. The moment the 3 of them appeared at the training ground, Feng Yun and the other 4 were so touched that they almost cried. Boss, you're finally out. We are about to be beaten to death. I've benefited greatly from this Tao discussion. Many thanks to the minister for his generosity. I will never forget this kindness for the rest of my life. Taoist Thunder was very emotional. He even used the word kindness. Although he had been beaten up by Zhuo Changlu many times, he had indeed learned a lot. However, the faces of Feng Yun and the other 4 darkened. There was no need to say anything. Just by hearing the word kindness, they knew that they had been beaten up for nothing. Not only could they not mention it, but it would also remind Boss Thunder that he owed someone a favor. You're welcome, Zhenglu Xuan said elegantly. Even without me, it's only a matter of time before Brother Lei gains some insights. Taoist Thunder shook his head and smiled bitterly. What Changlu said might be possible, but Taoist Thunder did not dare to say that he could really gain enlightenment. When it came to comprehending and experiencing things, it had always been about fate. Without a bit of luck, it really wasn't something that could be easily obtained. Boss, Brother Zhua, I'll go into seclusion first. Taoist Lightning had obviously gained a lot of enlightenment. He was a little impatient now, especially when he saw the 5 people outside who were almost beaten into pig heads. He did not dare to stay. After saying that, he hurriedly left, seizing the time to turn his enlightenment into his own foundation. The Tao League and the Astral Souls will always be allies. Taoist Thunder said word by word. Of course. Zhuo Changlu smiled. Brother Thunder, we still have to speed up the Tao League's no-fly zone. I've been having a lot of sudden inspiration recently, and I have a vague feeling that the tide is about to rise. It seems that time is not as optimistic as we thought. I understand. Taoist Thunder said in a low voice. From today onwards, we will personally go out to take a look and supervise the construction of the Tao League's no-fly zone. Zhuo Changlu smiled reservedly. We can also take a look at the Astral Souls no-fly zone and the Umno Alliance's no-fly zone. Both of them are almost done. All right, Taoist Thunder turned to look at Wu Yuding. Sister-in-law, you've worked hard these few days. Wu Yuding put away her sword, rubbed her hands, and smiled. Brother Thunder, you're too polite. We're all allies. It's only right that we help each other. Feng Yun and the other Taoists were speechless. Her words were really fucking good. And Boss Thunder, are you thanking her for beating us too hard? If there's nothing else. Before Taoist Thunder could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by Wu Yuding. Boss Thunder, how can there be nothing else? Now that we're done with the important matters, it's time to talk about the private matters. The Tao League has violated the favor writ twice and attacked my son. Shouldn't they give us an explanation for this? Wu Yuding said in a low voice. As the saying goes, one can change their face faster than one can flip a book. This was probably it, right? The 6 swords of the Tao League were all dumbfounded, including Taoist Thunder. Didn't we go in to discuss Tao and leave you outside to deal with this matter? What? You've already beaten people to death dozens of times, and you're telling me it's not over yet? You want an explanation? Besides, after those 2 incidents, didn't I already give you an explanation? You sent Yin Jong-hoo to blackmail us again and again. What else do you want? Why are you asking for an explanation again now? But that their boss had just accepted a huge benefit from Zhuo Chonglu, and now his wife was asking for an explanation. Tell me, what should we do about this? Should they learn from Wu Yuding and turn their backs on them? Then, the Dao League would never be able to raise their heads again. What kind of explanation does sister-in-law want? You're a straightforward person. Just say it. Taoist Thunder stuttered. At this time, they would be stabbed regardless of whether they stuck their head out or retracted it. They would definitely have to suffer this attack. We've been in alliance for so many years, and we've known each other for so many years. Since Brother Thunder asked personally, I'm naturally embarrassed to go overboard. Wu Yuding said, I just want Feng Yun and Taoist Thunder's treasure vault. Impossible. Feng Yun and Taoist Thunder flew into a rage. Sister-in-law, brothers Wu Yu, you control your wife. How could she ask for such a huge sum? Zhuo Chonglu smiled. Brothers, ahem, you think too highly of me. If I could control my master, I wouldn't need you to tell me this. But the main problem is that I'm henpecked. Zhuo Chonglu smiled shyly and guiltily. Brothers, I'm not afraid of being laughed at. If henpecked is a disease, I'm afraid I'm already beyond cure. After hearing this, the 6 Dao League members, including Taoist Thunder, leaned back in unison. This sentence was really too fucking speechless. This reason was really enough. I'm henpecked, and I'll admit it to my face. What can you do? What can you do? There was really no other way. That Taoist Thunder laughed and said, Our Dao League was indeed in the wrong. The Dao League should give sister-in-law an explanation. He pondered for a while and said decisively, How about this? Open all the treasure vaults of the 7 of us, including the main vault of the Dao League, and let sister-in-law wander around in them for 2 hours. Within 2 hours, there won't be anyone else in the treasure vault. Sister-in-law, whatever you want, just go ahead and get it. Even if you really take it all away, our Dao League will accept it. Taoist Thunder's face was full of smiles, and his voice was loud like a bell. The other 5 Taoists widened their eyes subconsciously, as if they were struck by lightning. So Chonglu's gaze also froze, and then he shook his head with a bitter smile. Taoist Thunder's move was really brilliant. I'll let you in with the most honest attitude, and let you take whatever you want. Take as much as you can. But do you really have a nerve to take it? If you really have the nerve to empty the Dao League's treasure vault, then it would be Wu Yuding deliberately destroying the alliance between the human race and the astral souls and the Dao League. One had to admit that Taoist Thunder's move of using defense as an attack was a beautiful move. Wu Yuding said, Okay. She actually agreed immediately. Then, the treasure vault was opened. Wu Yuding put her phone in Zhuo Chonglu's hand and walked in alone. Taoist Thunder was still full of smiles, as if he didn't hold any grudges. Zhuo Chonglu sighed, but his heart was full of sympathy for Taoist Thunder. Taoist Thunder's move could be said to be an upright man's action, and it was also the best choice to deal with the current situation. In such a situation, the person who dealt with it had to consider a lot. Even Zhuo Chonglu, who was once known as the 1-meter-higher sky, was embarrassed to take too many things after entering. After all, Taoist Thunder had already shown such an attitude, so he couldn't go overboard and slap his face. However, there was only one person who was an exception, and this person was Wu Yuding. The first reason was that Wu Yuding was a woman. She had always done things without caring about the dignity of a man. She would take as much as she wanted, and you couldn't say anything about it. You asked me to go in and take it, but now that I've taken it, you're complaining that I've taken too much? Of course, there was also the second reason. If it was only the first reason, Wu Yuding also needed to consider a lot, and she wouldn't be embarrassed to take too much. However, if the second reason was added, it would be a completely different matter. The second reason was that Wu Yuding wasn't just a woman, she was also a mother. And this time, the main purpose was, my son and daughter were bullied. I'm here to cause trouble, and I'm here to ask for compensation. Otherwise, why would I come? Really to improve your cultivation? Is there something wrong with my brain? Chapter 1135. Moreover, Wu Yuding didn't have much of concept in her mind, nor did she have any idea of stopping. Even if you only hit my son with a finger, I want you to compensate me with the entire Tao League. What's more, you almost killed my son. At that time, I was still in seclusion. How dare you bully my son while I couldn't come out? With such a huge grudge, the Tao League can't be justified if it doesn't bleed. Everything that I took was compensation for my son and daughter. This concerns my son and daughter's cultivation prospects and cultivation resources. Therefore, Wu Yuding would never complain about having too much. If possible, Wu Yuding wouldn't mind at all. She would bring back resources for her son and daughter to break through to the saint level, or even the level above that. Unfortunately, the Tao League didn't have that much to compare to her son and daughter's happiness and future. What was her face? Wu Yuding entered the treasury. Zhonglu and Daoist Thunder were chatting outside while waiting for the others. At this delicate moment, that the phone that Wu Yuding handed to Zhuo Chonglu rang. Zhonglu looked at it and saw the words "old man" on it. It was flickering nonstop. Fuck. So it was this little bastard. Zhuo Chonglu didn't want to pick up this call, but after thinking for a long time, he still picked it up. What's the matter? He conveniently set up a soundproof barrier. Duh. Thunder Daoist was a little speechless. Whose call was it? Why was it so sneaky? Mistress? Raindrop? Ah, boss. Lei Changtian's voice was full of surprise and suddenly changed to flattery. Boss. Hee, I didn't expect you to pick up the call yourself. Zhuo Chonglu's face darkened. Not only do I have to pick up the call myself, but I also have to go to the toilet myself. Hee, boss, you're wise and mighty. Love what you do. Lei Changtian chuckled. Raindrop isn't beside you? No, she's busy. Are you looking for her? You'll have to wait for 4 hours. Zhuo Chonglu said sternly. Why don't you wait? Ahem, I can tell you about this. You'll know about it sooner or later anyway. Lei Changtian coughed and said carefully, well, I'm in Shangjing right now. Niner, Xiao Duo, and I are together. What? Zhuo Zhonglu was stunned when he heard this. He frowned and said unhappily, what are you doing there? The tone of this sentence was very harsh, and there was also a sense of condescension. Cough, cough, cough. It just had nothing to do, so I wandered around. Cough, cough. Right. I came to visit my grandson, my granddaughter. Hearing Zhuo Chonglu's long-lost tone of voice, Lei Changtian was inexplicably flustered and hurriedly explained. His heart began to beat like a drum, and he stuttered a little. There was a buzzing sound in his head, and he immediately felt dizzy. I'm not scared. I can't be scared of him. He's my son-in-law. Lei Changtian kept reminding himself in his heart, but the more he reminded himself, the more scared he became. The more scared he became, the more trembling he became. 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 Just say it. Why are you calling me? Zhuo Chonglu asked calmly. What is it? Does it have to do with the children? What did you do? Lei Changtian panicked. Boss, I didn't do anything. I really don't dare to do anything. I accidentally exposed my identity, and then I accidentally killed 2 Tao integration stage super mighty figures of the Wang family in front of Xiao Duo. After that, Xiao Duo became lazy and wanted to win his life without doing anything. I don't think you can blame me for this. Zhuo Chonglu's face darkened, and he took a deep breath. On the other side of the phone, Lei Changtian, who was all too familiar with his boss, instinctively covered his ears. Tell me, what else can you do? A thunderous roar rang out, almost shattering the demon ancestor's eardrums. Lei Changtian shuddered, and his phone fell onto the bed. He suddenly remembered that he could just ignore the call. The phone could bring people closer, but it could also bring them further. However, after thinking about it, he still didn't dare to do so. He plucked up his courage, stretched out a finger, and pressed the hands-free button with lightning speed. Zhuo Chonglu's furious voice rushed out. You haven't been exposed for more than 20 years. You only appeared for a second, and you're exposed? What the hell are you doing? I asked you to look after the child, and this is the result you gave me? You're really good at ruining things. A series of earth-shattering roars came one after another. Lei Tian was like a duck that had been struck dumb by lightning. He listened to the roars from the phone in a daze, and his body couldn't help but tremble like a cicada in winter. Finally, he couldn't help but defend himself. My identity. Wasn't my identity exposed long ago? Well, I was in the UMNO Alliance, Xiao Duo, and I already knew. Exposed long ago. You're so great, aren't you? That's not what I meant. You still dare talk back? I. What the hell? Don't go too far. Oh, I'm. Lei Tian exploded. You're what? Zhuo Changlu's voice suddenly became a little fierce, but it couldn't be heard if one didn't pay attention. I'm a child's grandfather. In the end, Lei Tian didn't dare to say, I'm your father-in-law. Although he really wanted to say it, he really wanted to show off his majesty. Unfortunately, he had accumulated too much power in the past, and he didn't dare to say it. So what if you're the child's grandfather? Zhuo Changlu's voice suddenly became arrogant again. So you can harm the child, right? Have you forgotten that you almost caused little Duo's death before, right? Just tell me if you did or not. I. Lei Changtian's face turned red. I'm just afraid that you'll spoil the child. Then what are you doing now? We're spoiling the child? We're spoiling the child? Can you stop lying through your teeth? I'm not lying. I saw that the child was in danger. How could I not do something? Tell me, if it were you, would you not do something? If it were me, I would do something too. I would definitely do something, but I wouldn't do it all. I would only do it secretly to make sure that Xiao Duo and Xiao Nian's lives are not in danger. Can't you do it secretly? Don't you have a sense of propriety? You're the devil ancestor, the devil ancestor. Where did all your years of cultivation go? Zhuo Changlu said angrily. Lei Tian was sweating profusely, but somehow he felt comforted. In the past, boss always said, where did all your years of cultivation go? At least this time, he didn't scold me so harshly. I'm comforted. What's the situation now? Nothing. Tell me honestly, how bad is it? Tell me. It's like this. Xiao Duo begged me to search the souls of the Wang family and catch the mastermind. Then I'll kidnap him and kill him to avenge his master and the treasures of the other families. I said I don't want it. I'll give it all to the child. Zhuo Changlu almost fainted. What? You're doing all the work. What's he doing? He's waiting at home. Otherwise, wouldn't he call me grandpa for nothing? Waiting? He's waiting? You're doing all the work? Seems like it. How did you do it? Lei Tian said, I haven't done it yet. Boss, what do you think? What should I do? Zhuo Changlu was stunned. What should I do? You're asking me what to do. Do you really want to do it like this? I just feel that. As elders, we also need to stand up for our children. We can't just watch our children be helpless. We clearly have the ability to change the situation with a single move. Why should we watch our children risk their lives? Lei Tian suddenly felt a rush of anger. He spoke more fluently and loudly. Don't interrupt me. I'm just angry. This time, you have to let me finish. If you interrupt me, I'll vent my anger. Zhuo Changlu didn't say anything. If you want to say it, just say it. It's rare for second brother to explode today. I have to let him explode and then kill him in one fell swoop. Otherwise, he'll always feel that he has some ability that he hasn't used yet. If he really awakens the Mount Tai attribute, things will be really difficult to handle. Look at other people. After beating the young, the big one comes out. After beating the big one, the old one comes out. After beating the old one, an even older one comes out. Why can't our family do the same? Why? Lei Tian was really agitated. He spoke whatever came to his mind. It was all from the bottom of his heart. That's usually the case for villains. Only cannon fodder would do that. Our child is taking revenge alone. Facing such a powerful force, how can he beat them? The two of you can solve the problem by talking, but you have to torture our child to death. How can you bear to do that? Is this what a father would do? The more Lei Tian spoke, the more confident he felt. Isn't it just catching a few people for our child? Isn't it just killing a few people for our child? Isn't it just doing something for our child? Our child is suffering so much now. It's so difficult and tiring. As her father, why don't you feel sorry for her? Even if you don't feel sorry for her, I do, Lei Changtian said agitatedly. But the two of you keep using training as an excuse. You only care about yourself and have fun. You don't care about the life and death of your child. Isn't the child your biological child? Do the two of you even have a heart? Are you done? I'm done. What's wrong? Lei Changtian felt very confident. I've been listening to you for a long time, and this is all you can say? Fortunately, I was the one who raised Rainy. If she was with you, I don't know how much she would be spoiled by you. Look at your awareness. This is what Changlu scolded. Can you see the big picture? Do you know what's good for her child? Chapter 1136. Ting, Air, and I. Stop. Please call her Rainy. Don't change my daughter's name. Do you believe that I will fall out with you? We have raised the child since he was young. Don't you know what kind of temperament he has? We worked so hard to hide his identity and let him fight on his own to experience the hardships of the world. But why can't you let the child have an easier time? If this is a peaceful world, I can naturally let him die like a salted fish. He doesn't even need to practice martial arts. Even if my lifespan comes to an end, I can still bring my son back in the next reincarnation and raise him until he dies. Over and over again for tens of thousands of years. So what Changlu exploded. But what time is it now? Don't you know? Don't you know? Without power, he is just an ant that can't be protected at all times. Even I may not know when I will die in the next battle. If the child doesn't work hard, how can he live a long life and stay in the human world? As for the Wang family, why don't I interfere? Why? What do you know? You are the one who only knows how to spoil. Let's put it this way. According to what you said, you've done everything for the child. Then, I'll give you a very simple example. When the child is just starting to understand and know how to count, there's a question that asks, what's 5 plus 4? Who doesn't know it is 9? Who doesn't know? The child who just knows how to count doesn't know. You are so powerful that you can naturally write the answer for him before the exam and fill in the answer of 9. But if you do that, what will the child learn? What will he gain? What benefits will it bring him? Of course, I can clear all obstacles for Xiao Duo and Xiao Nian. If anyone dares to look at my son, I will destroy that person's family. Is that a problem for me? But what will happen after I do that? I can cover the Astral Souls continent. I can also cover the Umno Alliance continent. I can also cover the Dao League continent. I can cover the entire 3 continents. But even if I can cover them, accidents are everywhere. Unless you hang the child on your belt every day, you will never be at ease. How did Taoist Lei's son die? Until now, have you found the murderer? Could Taoist Thunder not protect him? The Flood Witch's great-grandson, who is also known as a genius, died inexplicably in the interior of the Umno Alliance. Even today, the Flood Witch still found the murderer. Isn't the Flood Witch better protected than I am? Do you think that just because you're awesome, no one dares to kill your son? Kill your grandson? Even if you are a saint, your son is useless. You can only accept your fate when he is killed. You may not be able to find the person who killed your son, so you can only suffer in silence. This is the current world, the current Jianghu. Even if 2 people have no enmity with each other, just one more glance on the road can trigger a life and death battle. This kind of battle has no cause and effect. How are you going to find the murderer? Even the murderer himself may not know for the rest of his life that he killed Taoist Lei's son, the Flood Witch's grandson, or the son of the sky inspecting minister. They just met by chance and didn't see eye to eye. They fought each other, the other one, and you died. It's that simple. How awesome do you have to be to monitor hundreds of billions of people in 3 continents? Even if you can monitor them for a while, can you monitor them for a lifetime? Now, the 3 continents are already so chaotic. What's more, in the future, when the Spirit Clan, the Devil Clan, the Demon Clan, the Azura Clan, the Western religious sect, and the Deity Clan return, even people with cultivation like yours and mine may become shrimps. Protection? How can you talk about protection? At that time, there will be as many experts as there are clouds. There will be martial saints, and they will run amok on the continent. Wherever they go, there will be mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Can't you see all this? That's why I have to think of ways to let Xiao Duo enjoy some resources that others can't get without him knowing. At the same time, he can train himself with real guns and bullets. Only when he truly becomes a peerless expert who can suppress an entire race by himself, a super powerful being who can suppress an entire race by himself, will I spoil my children the most, and not use your lame method to raise him into a good-for-nothing. Although Zhuo Changlu's tone was harsh, his voice wasn't loud. From the moment Xiao Duo came into contact with martial arts until now, I can help him avoid all the troubles. I only need to say a word, and it can be done. It can't be easier. However, if I were to say this out loud, with Xiao Duo's personality, it would be good if he could reach the nascent soul stage at most. Perhaps he might not even reach the elixir core stage. No matter how optimistic the consideration is, he can't reach the peak of the nascent soul stage. And it's the peak of the nascent soul stage that can suppress the geniuses of the 3 continents. I can arrange a heavenly king-level bodyguard for him from the moment he was born. If I did that, would it be your turn to meddle in the child's growth? What did I meddle in? Aren't you just worried about Wang Feihong's brotherhood? Aren't you just embarrassed to do it? Nonsense. Don't I know the Wang family better than you? Wang Feihong is my brother, my comrade, and his family. After he passed away, I took care of them for more than 2,000 years. I've done my best, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Even if Wang Feihong were still here, I'm afraid he would be more determined to destroy the Wang family than I am. There's really nothing to worry about. Even if this matter happened in Yu Xingchen's family, I have no scruples. I will make a move if I have to. There's nothing to say, but this experience is a rare stage in the child's growth. We must let him charge through on his own. If he lies down and becomes a salted fish from now on, when the major tribes return, only pain will greet us, because with his cultivation base, there's no way he can stay out of it. He must rush to the front lines. When his brothers, friends, classmates, and teachers step onto the battlefield, when they're all bleeding and sacrificing themselves, how can he stay out of it? He must participate. When his comrades die in battle beside him, what will he do? If he doesn't lay a good foundation now, what will happen when the time comes? Use your soybean-sized brain and think about it. How did your 36 demon guards die? You brought your demon guards with you every day, drinking, playing, and causing trouble everywhere. Only when we had no other choice did you train together. What happened next? Even Yu Dongtian's 5 great guards are all at the peak of the Sky Soar realm, and 2 of them have even advanced to the Dao integration stage. Your demon guards are only at the Sky Soar realm. If their cultivation base was just a little bit higher, they wouldn't have been completely wiped out and had to self-destruct to send you out, right? Yu Xingchen's cultivation base is the same as yours, but he and his 3 personal guards were able to fight against Flood. Even if they weren't a match for Flood in the end, they had no problem escaping with their lives. But what about you and your demon guard? What happened to you? They're all gone. I shouldn't have brought this up to make you sad, but you've already learned a painful lesson. Why do you want to repeat it? Do you want to experience the pain again? Or do you want Xiao Duo's little Nian to follow in the footsteps of the demon guards? Zhuo Zhonglu had expected better from him. Second brother, you were the first one to start a family among us. You were even earlier than Xingchen. But when will you become more mature? The more time we have, the more we have to squeeze out all of our people's potential. We have to let them experience the world, let them experience life and death. Only in this way can they survive in the future. Even in the future, in a life and death crisis, they have to break through themselves. Although Xiao Duo is now at the mystic returning realm and can be called a genius among geniuses, he's still only at the mystic returning realm. If he has something to rely on from now on, he knows that his grandfather is the demon ancestor and his father is the minister. What if he becomes a salted fish? Then, with his cultivation base, when the major clans arrive, who can he beat? How many days can he fight for? Are you sure he can survive the continuous war afterward? Or are you going to tie your grandson to your belt and watch over him in the 100-clan battlefield in the future? Even if you don't find it shameful, we don't find it shameful, and Xiao Duo doesn't find it shameful. What do you want me to say about you? Zhuo Zhonglu's long-winded speech was heartfelt and heartfelt. He had spoken it to his heart's content. He had even said that he would shed tears and hang his head to the heavens. He had been scolded to the point that he was speechless and had no words to respond to it. He didn't feel shameful, but he was awakened by the scolding. He was more awake than ever. He asked himself, if he had watched Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan grow up, would these two children be as outstanding as they are now? The aptitude of these two children, each of them could surpass the geniuses of the 3 continents by God knows how many levels. Could it be? If he didn't do anything now, wouldn't he be creating another Demon Guard's tragedy? But what we do now that he already knows, he's implicitly begging me to help him with this matter. What do you want me to do? Lei Chantian was at a loss. You say 1,000 times, but the children already know too much. What can I do? I'm also very helpless, okay? Zhuo Chonglu's nose was crooked. What to do? You ask me what to do. You don't even know how to say no? Do you know how to reject him? I'm asking you, do you know how to? Then, what's the use of me as a grandfather? Lei Chantian felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. What do you think? What's the use of you as a grandfather? Zhuo Chonglu sneered from his nostrils. The veins on Lei Changtian's forehead throbbed violently. He took a deep breath fiercely. He felt that he had been completely enraged. How could you mock people like that? Even if you're right, so what? Therefore, he took a deep breath, forced himself to control himself, and said humbly, "Then we'll do as you say." Chapter 1137. But even if we reject him, he will still find out. Lei Chantian had a new question. It's what Chonglu said without hesitation. What you need to do now is to reject him and stop helping him. You don't have to worry about anything else. Anyway, it's his teacher's revenge and his principal's revenge. If he can bear it, then don't take revenge. What's the big deal? We definitely won't help him anyway. He can do whatever he wants with this revenge. Won't that make the child feel resentful? Are you stupid? Do you not have a brain? Or is there mold in your brain? Did I tell you so much just now for nothing? You didn't take it to heart at all. It's better for him to feel resentful now than to suffer a big loss on the battlefield in the future. As his elders, if we don't bear his resentment, who else can bear it? Do you really want the child to use his own flesh and blood to prove his mistake today? Lei Chantian was moved. Boss, you're right. I understand. It's good that you understand. Let go and let him do it himself. Yes. The more Lei Chantian thought about it, the more he felt that Zhuo Chonglu was right. He couldn't help but sigh. Boss, you're right. Being a parent isn't just about raising a child. It requires scheming, wisdom, and means. None of them can be missing. Not only do you have to play tricks with the enemy, but you also have to play tricks with your own child for the sake of the child's growth. This is also knowledge. There's a lot of knowledge in this. Lei Chantian sighed. Fortunately, Rainey grew up with you. If she grew up with me, I don't know what she would be like. Boss, thank you. Cough, cough, cough. Zhuo Chonglu couldn't help but cough a few times. His face darkened, and he said, "If you don't have anything else to say, then I'll hang up." Although Lei Chantian was thanking him, Zhuo Chonglu still felt guilty in his heart. Something's not right. My father-in-law sincerely thanked me for helping him raise his daughter, my wife. This matter. Zhuo Chonglu put the phone in his pocket, shook his head, and sighed. Why are you sighing over there? Wu Yuding had come out at some point and was looking at him coldly with her bright eyes. Nothing, nothing. Zhuo Chonglu was startled. Looking at you. I guess you scolded your second son again? Wu Yuding's pretty face was frosty. Cough, cough. What do you want me to say to you? Even if he's not very sensible most of the time, and his mind isn't clear, he's still my father. Your father-in-law isn't. Wu Yuding said with a dark face. When you reprimand me in the future, can't you leave me some face? You're right, cough, you're right. You reprimand your father-in-law every day, as if he's your son. Wu Yuting rolled her eyes. You didn't even scold Xiao Duo like that. Xiao Duo is good because you gave birth to him. Why should I scold him? Zhou Chonglu smiled again and again with a flattering face. Sigh. Wu Yuting felt more and more powerless to complain. Having such a strange father-in-law and son-in-law, as a daughter and as a daughter-in-law, it was really enough. Wu Yuting even dared to bet that such a father-in-law and son-in-law relationship was not only unprecedented, but also had a high chance of it happening in the future. It had never happened before, and it most likely wouldn't happen again in the future. Although in the previous feudal era, from time to time, when the son-in-law was the emperor, the father-in-law would still kneel, but that was the feudal system after all. What's up with these two weirdos in front of me? Thinking of her son and daughter, she sighed. Son and daughter, daughter and son-in-law, mother-in-law and father-in-law. Well, such a family relationship seemed to be rare. My life is so hard. Why am I involved in all of this? Forget it, this is fate. People still have to believe in fate. Wu Yuting said bitterly. What's the matter? Can you tell me now? It's nothing. It's just that his grandfather accidentally exposed his true identity and strength. He flew to the battlefield to help Xiao Duo when he was fighting the enemy, and now Xiao Duo wants to be a salted fish. So Chonglu looked at his wife's face carefully and quietly complained to Lei Changtian, "Isn't it because of this that I'm angry? And just now he called me and scolded me." "And he dared to scold you?" "Yes, he said that we only cared about ourselves and didn't care about the child. So he went to spoil the child." "I just lost my temper, Sai." "What?" Wu Yuting's eyes widened, and then she was furious. "Call me. Is this something a human would do? I'm so angry. He's been muddle-headed for so many years, and he still can't change this old habit." Forget it, forget it." Zhou Chonglu held the phone and hurriedly handed it over. "Don't scold him. After all, he's your father. Leave him some face." "Leave him some face? Then what about my son and daughter? To eliminate hidden dangers, we have to deal with the root. He's getting more and more muddle-headed. I'm so angry." Wu Yuting took the phone and went to the side to make a call. Zhou Chonglu wiped his cold sweat and hurriedly removed the soundproof barrier. He saw the 6 people from the Dao League gossiping. "Brothers, well, what's wrong?" Snow Taoist asked with concern. They didn't hear the conversation between Zhou Chonglu and his wife, but they still saw Zhou Chonglu's submissive attitude. To them, it was not only refreshing, but also pleasing to the eye. "Nothing," Zhou Chonglu said casually. "It's just that my little brother was a little mischievous. I scolded him." Oh. Which little brother of yours? What does it have to do with you?" Zhou Chonglu squinted. The minister's demeanor was once again elevated, and he was completely different from his previous flattery. They didn't expect the minister to have more than 2 faces. On the other side of the barrier, Wu Yuting was already holding the phone and roaring after a long time. Zhou Chonglu asked his wife sneakily, "How much did you take?" "I didn't have a nerve to take all of it." "Hey, you're too shy. The treasury is open, and you don't have a nerve to take more?" "Well, we're allies after all." Zhou Chonglu sighed. "That's fine, as long as you're happy. How much did you take?" "I took 40% at most." 40%? Zhou Chonglu was a little confused. 40% of a warehouse? Cough, 40% of all. Zhou Chonglu sighed deeply. "Then, let's hurry up and leave." He knew that there were good and bad things in the warehouse. This was inevitable. If Wu Yuting only took 40%, then according to the ratio, it was basically the most valuable thing in the entire Dao League. But Wu Yuting didn't leave a single thing for anyone else. She had completely emptied it. Under such circumstances, if they didn't hurry up and leave, they might the 2 figures disappear with a whoosh. A second later, Thunder Taoist rushed out of the clouds. "Brothers Zhou, sister-in-law, wait you 2. He saw that the front was already filled with clouds, and there was no trace of them. Thunder Taoist sighed deeply. They left. Well, it should be said that they slipped away. Taoist Master Yun rushed out, his face full of anger. "Boss, this is too much. There's not even a blade of grass in my warehouse." "Cough, it doesn't matter." "Boss, I have hundreds of thousands of years of." Narrow-minded, Thunder Taoist said angrily, "Isn't it to fight against the demons? Can your treasures only be used for internal strife?" Taoist Yin lowered his head as soon as the accusation was made. "Sigh, I hope. Hope what? Do I need you to say that? I'm sorry, Big Brother Boss. It's empty. It's empty." A few old Taoists rushed over as fast as lightning. Thunder Taoist frowned and said angrily, "Go back and cultivate." He said in his heart, "Damn it, only yours is empty? Mine is empty too." Shang Jing. Lei Chantian put down his phone exhausted and lay on the bed. He felt weak all over and his limbs were limp like a pile of mud. Am I still an elder in this family? I'm just a punching bag. Lei Chantian sighed. My status in the family is so low that it makes one's hair stand on end. My grandson and niece ordered me to work. My son-in-law scolded me. My daughter scolded me again. Since ancient times, who could be a father-in-law as sullen as me? Wait until my cultivation surpasses yours. If I can't beat you 8 times a day, I won't be considered human. Lei Zhantian gritted his teeth and swore an oath. He was imagining himself beating Zhui Zhonglu to the ground with a slap when his cultivation was higher than his own. Then he would grab Zhui Zhonglu's hair and attack him with the Wu Song beating the tiger style. He shook his head and said, "Do you still dare? Do you still dare? Do you still dare?" As he spoke, he waved his hand in the air. After a long time, he let out a long sigh. This is so satisfying. He removed the soundproof barrier. Now that he had received the death order from those two, it would be easy to deal with this little dog. He opened the door and walked out with his hands behind his back. His face was serious. "Grandpa, how is it? When do you want to do it?" "I'm ready." Zhou Xiaoduo was suddenly energized. "What are you ready for? This won't do. We can't do it according to what you said." Lei Changtian frowned. "Your parents have ordered me not to interfere in your affairs." Zhou Xiaoduo was stunned. "There is such a thing? Grandpa, you helping me? What does it have to do with my parents? Do you think my parents can control you?" The muscles on Lei Zhangtian's face twitched. "How can they control me? Then you. I can't interfere in your affairs." Lei Changtian refused. Looking at Zhou Xiaoduo's astonished face, a refreshing feeling rose in his heart. Chapter 1138. Rejection turned out to be such a satisfying thing that Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan looked at each other at this. Didn't seem quite right. They couldn't help but think of what they were most concerned about. Their parents' identities. Now that Grandpa had appeared, their parents' identities were obvious. Although they couldn't find out, their surname was Zhou. How many people with the surname Zhou in the world were worthy of the demon ancestor's daughter? Was there need to ask? My father must be the son or grandson of the Sky Patrol Minister. There was no doubt about that. So Xiaoduo rolled his eyes and said, "Grandpa, if you're the demon ancestor, then what are my parents' identities? Why don't you tell us?" Lei Changtian snorted and said, "You'll have to ask your parents yourself. What are their identities? No matter what their identities are, they're still your parents and also my daughter's son-in-law. This will never change." So Xiaoduo rolled his eyes and said, "Grandpa, you're acting like you're keeping a big secret from us. Do you think we won't know if you don't tell us?" Lei Changtian was stunned. "What do you know?" "We know a lot." So Xiaoduo said proudly, "Grandpa, you're the demon ancestor whose name shakes the entire continent. As for the demon ancestor's daughter and son-in-law, isn't it obvious? Grandpa, you're still keeping this a secret." "Ha ha." Zhou Xiaoyan also pursed her lips and laughed. "That's right. Grandpa is so funny. Hee hee." So Xiaoduo wasn't the only one who thought of it. Zhou Xiaoyan also thought of it. Both of them were very amused. Grandpa was still keeping this a secret. Ha ha ha. Lei Changtian crossed his legs and said, "Then what do you know?" "Ha." So Xiaoduo didn't know whether to laugh or cry and said, Grandpa, you're really keeping this a secret? At this time, who doesn't know that my father is the Sky Patrol Minister?" Lei Changtian's shock was no small matter. He suddenly stood up from his chair and said in a flabbergasted manner, "You guys already knew that your father was the Heaven Inspecting Minister?" Zhou Xiaoyan's pretty eyes suddenly widened. Zhuo sat down on the ground. His face was pale, and his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What? My father is the heaven-inspecting minister? Lei Tian was dumbstruck. What was the meaning of this? What kind of reaction is this? You already guessed it, so why are you so shocked? High up in the sky, Bai Yunduo covered her face. She couldn't bear to listen or watch. This was a wooden club that compared to the furious Bai Yunduo. Lei Tian was dumbfounded. It turned out that these two guys didn't even know who their parents were. But I exposed them with a single sentence. Looking at the two people who were dumbstruck, Lei Tian had an inexplicable urge to bang his head against the wall. It's over. I've exposed my biggest secret. How can I have a good time? Wouldn't it be better if I ended my own life? You two look quite smart, but how can you not even guess such a small thing? Are you deliberately trying to trick me? Didn't you just say that everyone knows that your father is the heaven-inspecting minister? This means that you clearly know. Lei Tian was unwilling to die just like that. He wanted to get to the bottom of this. Even when he was about to die, he wanted to drag someone down with him, even if it was his own grandson. He had never met such a deceitful junior. At this time, Zhuo also felt that his thoughts had been scattered into thousands of fireworks in the starry sky by this sudden explosive information. He muttered, "What I want to say is, who doesn't know if my father is the son or grandson of the heaven-inspecting minister? I just want to ask you to tell me if my father is the son or grandson of the heaven-inspecting minister. According to reason, this should be more logical." Zhuo leaned on Zhuo in a daze. She could only nod her head vigorously. Her expression was dull. I think so too. You couldn't blame them for not thinking of this. Other than someone with a god's perspective, perhaps no one would dare to think this way, including all of you who are reading now. With a healthy and well-to-do life, who would dare to think that their parents were originally the richest people in the world and hid their identities? That was something that no one would ever think of, Zhuo said in a dreamlike tone. The demon ancestor is recognized by the continent as one of the top 3 astral souls of the heaven-inspecting minister and Emperor Zhaixing. How many clans are qualified to be related to the demon ancestor by marriage? Naturally, there aren't many. However, our surname is Zhuo, the same surname as the minister, considering that the demon ancestor and the minister were people of the same era. It is only natural to infer that we should be related to the minister. This logic is the most wrong inference. It has been unanimously recognized by both of us. That is, my father is the minister's junior. But now, you are telling us. Oh my God. Zhuo felt that she was sleepwalking. Zhuo felt that he was dreaming in the middle of an exploding starry sky. His whole body was floating to huge fireworks were shooting up in his pitiful little head. His mind was mottled with dreams, bright and blurred. Even his spine felt weak that this was a dream. But this dream was so beautiful that it was hard to bear that, cake seller, my father, is the heaven-inspecting minister. I'll be damned, great master. What the hell? I am the second generation. The second generation. Second generation. Second generation. Zhuo felt dizzy and felt like he was floating. I've always been envious of those second generations. Even in my dreams, I've always wanted to be a second generation. Who would have thought that I'm really a second generation, and the most awesome one at that? Roar. Ha! Xiaoduo was drooling. He was like a retard. Lei Tian felt increasingly powerless. He wished that he could collapse on the ground. His eyes looked into the void, and he unconsciously muttered to himself, "You guys actually think that your father is the son or grandson of the heaven-inspecting minister. And you guys even unanimously agree. This is logical. My God, how can this matter be judged and understood like this? I'm a little confused." Lei Tian stood up shakily and walked toward the guest room that he had just come out of. I have to think. Carefully think. How could this be? Why is it the most logical? I'm a little dizzy. My eyes are shining. Don't pay attention to me. A soundproof enchantment was immediately formed. After a long time, Zhuo unconsciously turned his head and his gaze met Zhuo Xiaoyan beside him. He was completely unfocused. Zhuo Xiaoyan also turned her little head, and her innocent and dazed eyes met with Zhuo Xiaoduo's unfocused gaze. "Oh, cake seller," Zhuo Xiaoduo said. "Oh my God," Zhuo Xiaoyan said. "This is really shocking, this dog. Indeed, shocking, this cat." "Phew," Zhuo Xiaoduo let out a long sigh of relief. "Phew," Zhuo Xiaoyan patted his chest and heaved a long sigh of relief, but his heart surged. Both of them felt that their whole body was soft and weak, and they didn't even have the strength to stand up. "Oh my God, it turns out that I'm the most awesome second generation in the world." Zhuo Xiaoduo's body was soft like a cooked sweet potato. Moreover, it was a completely boiled sweet potato. His entire body slowly became limp like a pancake. He collapsed on the ground. He said as if he was dreaming, "Nian Mao." "Yes." So Xiaoyan leaned on his side, her delicate body half lying down, and her face was flushed, magnificent, and dazzling. Zhuo Xiaoduo held Zhuo Xiaoyan's slender waist and murmured, "Nian Mao, I think we should retire, get married, and have children. There's nothing in this world that's worth fighting for anymore." Zhuo Xiaoyan didn't answer for a long time. "After we have a bunch of children, we'll let our parents choose a few with good aptitude to cultivate. With their skills, it'll be easy to create a few more talents of the continent." So Xiaoduo's eyes shone, and he murmured, "Anyway, I don't want to be so tired anymore. I've worked myself to death day after day. Finally, it's the end." Zhuo Xiaoyan was still in a daze. His intuition was strange, and he felt like he was in a dream. Zhuo Xiaoduo squinted his eyes and rubbed Zhuo Xiaoyan's soft waist. "After working so hard for so many years, I suddenly found out that my father is the richest man in the world. My feelings are so complicated. I don't know if I should be excited, comforted, refreshed, or arrogant. I'm so excited, happy, and scared. So sad. How am I going to spend so much money?" Speaking of complicated feelings, Zhuo Xiaoyan's feelings were also complicated. Even if it was anyone else, they would feel the same. For example, if the author suddenly told her that her father was actually richer than the richest man in the world, she would probably fucking die. Zhuo Xiaoyan's feelings were unprecedentedly complicated. She thought and thought, but she didn't know what to think. Then, she suddenly felt that something was wrong. The hand that was originally on her waist had actually quietly moved up to her chest at some unknown time, and was slowly smack. With a crisp sound, Zhuo Xiaoyan's face turned red, and her body went limp. She flew into a rage. "Dogda, do you want to die?" Before he finished speaking, he had already flipped over and pressed down on Puppy to go. What followed was a series of fierce punches. Every punch landed on flesh, and it was nothing difficult. Zhuo Xiaoduo loudly begged for mercy and screamed. He also spouted a lot of nonsense in an attempt to persuade Zhuo Xiaoyan, but Zhuo Xiaoyan completely ignored him and only focused on beating Xiaoduo. She couldn't even be bothered to be shy now. "Dogda, die." Chapter 1139. So Xiaoduo couldn't take it anymore and fought back. So the scene became chaotic, but it was good. If they didn't go crazy, they wouldn't know how to vent the countless, inexplicable emotions that had accumulated in their hearts to bang, bang, bang. Lei Zhongtian sat in his room in a daze. He couldn't speak of his annoyance. He couldn't speak of his regret. "I'm so stupid, really. I've been smart all my life, but I was tricked by 2 kids. I really failed miserably at such an easy task." In the air, Bai Yinduo looked up at the sky, speechless. "How could you say that you've been smart all your life? I can understand all the mistakes you've made today, but I really can't agree with what you've just said." After a long time, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoduo finally stopped, gasping for breath. "It seems that Grandpa won't help us anymore." Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed. "That seems to be the case." Zhuo Xiaoyan sighed as well. After knowing the identity of their parents, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan knew that they had to do it themselves. Last time, their father went to the ancestral dragon high school and dealt with the matter, then left. Now that they thought about it carefully, the situation was very clear. But, with Grandpa's support, I feel that the Wong family is just a small that can be crushed with a finger at any time. Even if there's the suspicious family, it's not enough to reach the apex. I can destroy it with a raise of my hand. But now that Grandpa hasn't done anything, I feel that the Wong family has become a giant again. With our cultivation and strength, we can't do anything at all. Yes. Then what should we do now? Aren't I just thinking about it? My head hurts. I clearly have an unimaginable amount of wealth, so much savings, and it's within reach, but I'm not allowed to use it. What do you think this is? It's with Xiaoduo's side. Aren't they deliberately making things difficult for me? He looked at Zhuo Xiaoyan and hurriedly added, and deliberately making things difficult for Zhuo Xiaoyan? This is too much. Don't think about it. By the way, didn't you say that you're going to visit the Liu family? When are you going? We'll talk about it later, Zhuo Xiaoduo said pitifully. I'm weak now. I was scared to death by my parents. Sigh, I'm the same. Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed. It's really strange. Li Chenglong, Long Yushin, Yu Moyan, and Li Changming, these bastards, I don't know where they went to train. I can't get through to their phones, and they're not replying to my messages. It's fine if we can't get through to one of them, but now we can't get through to all of them. Even Principal Yi and Teacher Wen don't know where these bastards went. It's really strange. It's really annoying. If only a few of them could come to help, even if they're just depressed with us. But we can't find them. It's really strange. So Xiaoduo scratched his head, his hair that he had just used his vitality to make it look like a chicken's nest. Melancholy. At the same time, at the far north of Shangjing, in a quiet and nameless valley, the few people that made Zhuo Xiaoduo feel melancholy were gathered here. Not only were they all here, but there were even a few more. This group of people included Li Chenglong, Xiang Chong, Xiang Bing, Long Yuxing, Wan Lixiu, Yu Moyan, Li Changming, Gao Chao Zhan Piapiao, Yuner, and Pai Bao. Except for Pai Bao, the others were all covered in blood. They surrounded a ferocious demon beast and were fighting fiercely in the sky. Pai Bao was floating there, but he didn't have the slightest sense of existence. No one noticed him, whether it was the people or the demon beast. Even Li Chenglong, the leader of the battle formation who arranged for him to stay outside, didn't notice his position at the moment. His sense of existence was really too weak. During this period of time, Pai Bao's presence had become so low that it made people's hair stand on end. To give a direct example, everyone had been here for such a long time, but every time it was time for a meal, no one would think of calling Pai Bao. It was only when Li Chenglong habitually called his name and saw Pai Bao's name tag in his hand that he would remember that there was another person in the group. And this name tag was specially made by Pai Bao for fear that he would forget about him. Pai Bao stood in the sky and waved his hand. A long bow appeared in his hand. It was a long bow with a strange shape and an indescribable sense of solemnity. However, the strange shape wasn't the most eye-catching thing about this bow. The most special and unique thing about this bow was that it didn't have a bowstring. In other words, this was a bow without a bowstring. Pai Bao used his hands to condense qi, and the surging qi of heaven and earth gathered rapidly. Like 100 rivers converging into the sea, a whale swallowing the sea, the qi of heaven and earth poured into the longbow. After a while, the longbow gradually changed. A faint light flashed on both ends of the bowstring. Pai Bao held the bow with one hand and an arrow with the other. He suddenly pulled it back. In an instant, an arrow that looked like a ray of light appeared in his hand and on the bow. Then, an invisible string appeared on the bowstring. This invisible string, as Pai Bao poured all his cultivation and a huge amount of qi of heaven and earth into the bow, became more and more full. The light flashed, and the heaven and earth were shocked. The light arrow became more and more solid. Finally, the bow was like a full moon, ready to be released. Finally, the light arrow completely solidified. A ray of red light bloomed on the body of the arrow and flowed continuously on the arrow. At this moment, Pai Bao had poured all his cultivation into this arrow. He didn't even hold anything back for himself. Swoosh! Pai Bao's gaze sharpened, and he suddenly let go. A ray of light, as if it wanted to split the heaven and earth in half, broke through layer after layer of black space barriers, and broke through the air. This arrow was too fast and too swift. It didn't even make any sound. This arrow seemed to have transcended the difference between time and space. It was faster than flowing light. In a flash, it had already hit its target. Their target was a monster that Li Chenglong and the other 11 people were besieging with all their might. It was a monster with 2 heads, 8 arms, 6 tails. Yes, no, it originally had 3 heads. However, one of the heads had already been chopped off. This monster was a very strange demon king. Its body was like a lion, but its head was like a wolf. However, it had a horn like a flood dragon. Its tail was like a fox. Its combat power was unprecedentedly strong. During this period of confrontation and battle, Li Chenglong and the others could be said to have suffered greatly. In the beginning, Long Yuxing and Wan Lixiu came to the nearby valley and found that there was an area covered by a strange array. They broke the seal and went inside to explore. Finally, they found a heart-cleansing fruit growing in the innermost position. Heart-cleansing fruit was a legendary treasure. It took 500 years to sprout and grow, 5,000 years to become a tree, another 500 years to bloom, another 500 years to bear fruit. After that, the fruit would mature after another 3,000 years. After 10,000 years, there were only 3 fruits. However, if these 3 fruits were not picked, they would fall to the ground and become the foundation of the heart-cleansing fruit tree. After 10,000 years, it could bear 9 heart-cleansing fruit trees. If it was still not picked by someone, after another 10,000 years, that is, after 30,000 years, the heart-cleansing fruit tree would bear 18 heart-cleansing fruit trees. The heart-cleansing fruit tree that Long Yuxing and Wan Lixiu found had 18 heart-cleansing fruit trees that were about to mature. That was to say, this heart-cleansing fruit tree was a big treasure that had been growing for 30,000 years. This kind of spiritual fruit, not to mention eating one, just by smelling the fragrance for a long time, could achieve the effect of cleansing the meridians and marrow. It could even be used multiple times to consolidate the foundation of martial arts again and again. There was no after effect at all. If it was eaten directly, the effect was even more amazing. Even if an ordinary person ate this fruit, his body would transform into an innate spiritual body in a very short time. He would become the best and most talented martial artist. With the continuous effect of the medicine, the martial artist could be promoted to a martial master after suppressing the real essence for at least 9 times. Then, he would break through all the way until the effect of the heart-cleansing fruit tree was completely exerted. A 30,000-year-old heart-cleansing fruit tree was enough to make a person with poor aptitude break through all the way from an ordinary person to the most talented peak of transformation cloud. Therefore, this heart-cleansing fruit tree was also called One Step to Heaven fruit in the legends. After Long Yuxing found this heart-cleansing fruit tree, he also found the guardian monster at the same time. This was reasonable. Besides such spiritual trees and spiritual fruits, there were always guardian monsters who coveted them and regarded them as their belongings. Long Yuxing and Wan Lixiu knew that with the strength of the 2 of them, it was absolutely impossible to take down this monster at the Demon King level. Naturally, they informed Li Chenglong immediately. Li Chenglong was shocked when he heard the news. He repeatedly told the 2 of them not to act rashly. Then, he urgently called all the others from all directions and rushed to the site of the incident at night. Until all the people gathered, they began to launch a joint attack. Although they had already planned before taking action, the strength of this unknown demonic beast was unexpectedly strong. It was many times stronger than ordinary demonic beasts of the Demonic King realm. More than a dozen people used all their skills, but the joint attack didn't have any effect. Instead, they were on the verge of being wiped out several times. Finally, Li Chenglong carefully observed the demonic beast's attack range and its moves and explored a feasible strategy to deal with the demonic beast in actual combat. After several days of fierce fighting, everyone paid the price of serious injuries several times before they finally dealt a heavy blow to the demonic beast. Chapter 1140. That time, it was Li Qinglong who controlled the whole situation and mobilized everyone to launch a targeted attack. This created an opportunity for Pai Yibao to shoot one of the monster's heads with an arrow. But from the moment it was severely injured, the monster became even crazier. It attacked with all its might several times, trying to break through the encirclement and rush into the valley. It rushed to the heart-cleansing fruit. Even if the fruit was not ripe yet, it could still exert a powerful effect. If the monster really swallowed it, it would be easy for it to recover instantly. And when that time came, none of the 12 people could escape. So, everyone naturally joined forces to stop it at all costs. This also caused the battle to be extremely tragic. The word miserable was not enough to describe it, especially after the previous arrow wound. This demonic beast had become even more cautious. It was constantly on guard against any possible attacks, making it difficult for Pai Yibao to find another opportunity. Furthermore, his cultivation level was not very high. If he wanted to shoot an arrow that could severely injure this demonic beast, he would need a considerable amount of time to accumulate his strength. However, this demonic beast obviously would not give him such an opportunity. The current opportunity to attack was Li Zhongming risking his life to launch the Dream Divine technique. He wanted to force the demonic beast into a dream and create an opportunity for Pai Yibao to shoot the arrow, but the current situation was that Li Zhongming really fell asleep and entered a dream. But this demonic beast was only slightly confused and a little confused. That was all there was to it. If the first head of this demon beast had not been blown off by the sneak attack, it might not have even fainted. Instead, Li Zhongming would have fallen into a state of eternal slumber, never to wake up again. But now, Li Qingming risked his life to create an opportunity. In the current situation, this opportunity was enough for Pai Yibao. How could he miss such a fleeting opportunity? Pai Yibao pulled the bow and arrow in the sky. The arrow was like a silent thunder, leaping through the sky. One arrow, breaking the sky, breaking the space, killing the soul, killing the life. With a soft sound, the light arrow had been deeply inserted into the right eye of the middle head of the demonic beast, following which, there was a muffled boom as another huge head of the demonic beast exploded. The remaining head of the demonic beast howled miserably towards the sky. It was in so much pain that it wished to die. When Li Qinglong and the others saw that the demonic beast was severely injured again, they all rushed forward and shouted, "Kill it!" Li Qinglong's eyes were almost bleeding. This was the best chance, or perhaps the last chance, that in mid-air, Pai Yibao, who had shot the arrow, fell to the ground like a withered leaf. That arrow had used up all of his focus and all of his strength. At this moment, the sound of something exploding in the air could be heard. That was the shrill shriek of the arrow that had pierced through the void. Yu Moyan roared and leaped into the air. He suddenly turned into a ray of light in the sky. His entire body turned into a demonic sword and rushed forward with unprecedented ferocity. Dugian followed closely behind. Her entire body turned into a wisp of black smoke that lingered above the devil sword that Yu Mo Yin had transformed into, causing the devil sword's power to suddenly double. The unparalleled devil sword whizzed past and actually pierced through the side of the demonic beast's body, leaving a transparent hole that was the size of a bowl. The demonic beast howled towards the sky. It was in so much pain that it wished to die. Long Yuxing let out a loud roar, and then the image of an azure dragon flashed into appearance in midair. It shook its head and wagged its tail before descending brazenly. Li Qinglong, Xiang Chong, Xiang Bing, and the others used all of their strength to fight the final battle. Da Gao Qiao, and Zhen Piao all became one with their swords and charged forward. Now was the time for the final attack. It was also the most extreme time. They could not give the demonic beast any time to breathe. They had to finish it in one fell swoop. After such a long battle, everyone was already at the end of their rope. Once the demonic beast caught its breath, everyone would be done for. There would be no more luck. Puff, puff, puff. The the few people who used their last bit of strength pierced through the demonic beast's body. This situation was definitely impossible when the demonic beast was at its peak. It seemed that not only were they at the end of their rope, the demonic beast was also at the end of its rope. The only thing left was to see who would be the first to run out of strength. The demonic beast let out an earth-shattering roar. On its burly body, there were clearly more than 10 transparent bloody holes. Xiang Chong roared, and the overlord halberd fell down. Together with Li Chenglong's sword, they landed on the remaining head of the demonic beast. All of his cultivation was unleashed. Boom! The remaining head of the demonic beast was also smashed into pieces. Red and white parts shot out wildly for thousands of meters, which also marked the end of this battle. The monstrous beast's huge body was still swaying. It had lost all 3 of its heads, and its life had already come to an end. However, it could not swallow its last breath no matter what. It did not understand. Ever since it mistakenly entered this strange, sealed territory thousands of years ago, it had spent a lot of effort to finally kill the original demonic beast king and monopolize this heart-cleansing sacred fruit tree. It was only waiting for the heart-cleansing sacred fruit to ripen and eat it. Not only would it be able to advance to the demonic emperor level immediately, but it would also be able to continue climbing higher. Why did it wait for thousands of years? It was clearly about to ripen in a few days. However, this group of uninvited guests had appeared and caused him to be killed at the last moment. Is there any justice in this world? I've been guarding the buy vegetable for thousands of years. Is it for others to take it? God, do you have eyes or not? God, why do you misjudge the virtuous and foolish? God, why do you invert black and white? Where's the justice? Where's the justice? A transparent shadow floated out of the demonic beast's body. It was the last bit of the demonic beast's soul. It roared with grief and indignation. Why? Boom, boom, boom. Long Yuxing and the other 10 people used all of their remaining strength to launch a series of attacks on the transparent soul, shattering it into pieces. How could there be so many whys in this world? If it's not yours, it won't be yours even if it's a minute or a second later. This is your fate. Your fate should be like this. The demonic beast's huge body swayed for a moment before it finally fell down, causing the ground to sway for a moment. With a groan, Li Zhongming finally woke up. Just now, he used the Great Dream Divine Technique in an extreme way. His entire body and even his entire soul fell into a dream state. If this demonic beast didn't die, Li Zhongming could only sleep until the end of time. Of course, this was on the premise that the demonic beast wasn't interested in him and didn't eat him. Success! Li Chenglong's body swayed. He felt that his head was full of chaos and dizziness, as if he was lacking oxygen. Success! Everyone cheered in unison. Everyone was covered in bruises and scars, but now, no one cared about these minor details. They really didn't expect that they could kill such a powerful demonic beast with their god-reigning cultivation. This was a demonic beast that was even stronger than the demon king. On the other side, in the bushes, Pai Yibao used his hands and feet to crawl out. He really didn't have any strength now. His whole body was like noodles. Just now, he used the method of draining the pond to catch fish to shoot the last arrow. He didn't even leave a seed of vital energy in his body. He used up all his energy and shot a fatal arrow. And using this method, if there was no external help, he wouldn't be able to recover by himself. But he still forced himself to crawl out with pure physical strength, because he was afraid that he didn't have any sense of existence now. If he didn't crawl in front of them, these guys would probably forget about him when they left. If he were to abandon himself here in such a situation, then he would only end up in a miserable state. You guys, give me something to eat. Pai Yibao shouted desperately. Hurry. When you leave later, don't forget about me. Everyone was stunned for a moment. Then they burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Even though his body was covered in wounds and he was crying out in pain while laughing, he still couldn't stop laughing. Because what Pai Yibao said could really happen. He really didn't have any sense of existence. In the direction in front, a tempting fragrance came. The heart-cleansing sacred fruit is ripe. Long Yuxing shouted. He couldn't express his excitement and couldn't express his fear. If the heart-cleansing sacred fruit was ripe half a minute earlier, just this fragrance alone could make the demonic beast feel refreshed. Just the refreshed spirit was enough. The situation of victory and defeat would be reversed immediately. They would be finished as sure enough it was fate. It was not up to them at all. After a while, everyone who had taken the healing medicine more or less recovered some strength gathered in front of the heart-cleansing sacred fruit tree. The 18 ripe, heart-cleansing sacred fruits were exuding a tempting fragrance. Just by smelling the fragrance, everyone felt refreshed. At the same time, the remaining scars on their bodies began to heal the moment they touched the fragrance. It was extremely magical. Everyone was refreshed. They suddenly felt that their hard work just now was not in vain. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Long Yuxing's eyes were shining. He was amazed. This is the real treasure of heaven and earth. Li Zhongming held Yu Yin Air's shoulders and tried his best to support his body. However, his legs were trembling like gluten. However, he just happened to be lying on Yu Yin Air's body and enjoyed it very much. Yu Yin Air's face was red. She couldn't help but mutter in her heart, so heavy. Pai Bao, on the other hand, was sprawled on the ground. Everyone was completely exhausted, and no one had any energy left to help him recover his vital energy. His entire body was limp and weak. He greedily breathed in the fragrance. Good stuff, this is really good stuff. It's so comfortable. What's this smell? Fuck. Xiang Chong, hurry up and move your stinky feet away. Chapter 1141. Xiang Chong moved with difficulty and said with a black face, "It was you who took the initiative to crawl under my crotch. How dare you blame me?" Pai Bao's face was full of sadness. "Do you think I want to crawl here? I was just tired. Do you think I like the current position? If others see this, my reputation will be ruined." Everyone was drooling as they watched and waited. No one made a move. Good things were good things, but at this time, no one was willing to show their desire. Besides, there were so many people, and someone had to speak. So everyone looked at Li Chenglong together. Zhuo Xiaoduo was not here, so Li Chenglong had the final say. Li Chenglong took a deep breath and stepped forward. He stood in front of everyone and said in a deep voice, "This heart-cleansing fruit is an opportunity for each of us to reach the sky in a single bound. What's more, there are enough heart-cleansing fruits here. We don't have to worry about the problem of uneven distribution. Now, let's discuss our distribution in detail." Long Yuxing said directly, "What's the point of discussing? Just tell us the plan. We don't want to think about it. I guess you already have a plan in mind, right? Just say it." Everyone said in unison, "Say it. Don't waste time." Li Chenglong rolled his eyes and felt choked. He said, "If Zhuo were here, who would dare to be so rude? None of you treat me as a cadre. You still want to be a cadre. If you don't say it, we'll beat you together. So many people can't beat Zhuo, but can't we beat you?" "Okay," Li Chenglong said, "I won't talk nonsense. I think there are a total of 18 heart-cleansing fruits here. The 12 of us here will naturally give one to each of us. We'll pick it and eat it immediately. In addition to the 12 that we consumed, 2 of the remaining 6 must be reserved for Zhuo and sister-in-law. Even if Zhuo really can't come back, we'll have to wait for 2 years before we decide what to do with the one reserved for him." Li Chenglong said, "Does anyone have any objections to this? 2 years of buffer time, no matter what Zhuo Xiaoduo did or what he did in seclusion, it was more than enough. If he didn't appear after 2 years, then it was possible that he would never appear again in this lifetime. Regarding this point, everyone already had a consensus in their hearts, but they rarely said it out loud. We have no objections." Everyone spoke in unison. As for the last 4, what I mean is that we have 2 choices. The first choice is for us to keep them in reserve. In case someone encounters an accident that damages their foundation and causes serious injuries to their origin, we can use one. This is our team's shared resource, our hidden trump card. As for the second option, it is to hand these 4 pills over to the higher-ups. Perhaps this move can cultivate 4 more powerhouses for the astral souls. Li Chenglong said, "Which method should we adopt? Everyone, please give me your opinion. No matter which choice is good, I can't make a decision on this. Everyone has to express their opinions. At least we can make a decision." Everyone looked at each other, but they couldn't make up their minds at the same time. Keeping them was equivalent to having an extra safeguard and 4 extra lives, but it would be a waste. If they handed them over, they were somewhat reluctant to do so. That Li Chenglong saw that everyone was silent for a long time. So he simply said, "This choice must be finalized as soon as possible. Later, I will ask you some questions, and you can answer from your heart. Just express your thoughts. First, I'll ask a non-staff member. Jean Piao, what's your opinion?" Jean Piao looked at everyone and lowered her head. After thinking for a long time, she said in a low voice, "I prefer the second option." She raised her head and said, "I also want to keep a trump card for the team. If we keep the 4 spiritual fruits, we may be able to save 4 of us from a disaster. But if we take them out, we will have 4 more geniuses. As for how far these 4 geniuses can go, that's a matter of the future. It's hard to say, but if we don't encounter any injuries that can only be healed by the Sacred Heart cleansing fruit in our lifetime, it seems to be more meaningful than having 4 more geniuses. Even if we really encounter that kind of injury, as long as the 4 of us don't encounter that kind of injury, the 4 more geniuses can still fill the void that we lack. On the other hand, if we keep the Sacred Heart cleansing fruit in the future, it will undoubtedly be a waste. Even if the effect of the fruit doesn't disappear, we will still miss the opportunity to increase the astral souls. I'm done. As soon as Jean Piao finished her words, she lowered her head again. This was because Li Chenglong had clearly stated that he was a non-staff member of this squad. Being an unofficial member meant that she was not an official member. Jean Piao, who had always cared about this, could not help but feel inferior. Her words lacked confidence. "I agree with Jean Piao." Gao Qiao saw Li Chenglong looking at her and immediately said, "I agree with the same reason as Jean Piao." Long Yuxing and Wan Li Xiu said at the same time, "Then let's do it." When the 2 of them were together with Li Chenglong, they were already used to not using their brains. Umo said, "If it was peacetime, I wouldn't even be willing to give up a whiff of the fragrance. But under the current situation, I agree to give it up." "I agree," Xiang Chong said. Xiang Bing nodded at the side. Li Zhongming and Yu Yin also did not express any objection. At this moment, a voice came from Xiang Chong's crotch. "I agree." Everyone looked over. Who was Pai Bao, who was lying there without any sense of presence? If it was not for this voice, everyone would have forgotten about this guy. Along with this shout, it immediately caused a new round of roaring laughter. The main reason was that the image of Pai Bao sticking his head out from Xiang Chong's crotch was quite amusing. If that's the case, each of us will take 1. We will keep 2 for Zhua and sister-in-law. The remaining 4 will all be handed over. When we return to the school, we will hand them over to Principal Yi and let him pass them to the higher-ups. Principal Yi won't hold them back, right? Principal Yi has always been protective of the students of Hidden Dragon High School. Will he? Mo Yin objected. Absolutely not. Li Chenglong, Gao Qiao Xiang Chong, and Xiang Bing all shook their heads. They had been in Hidden Dragon High School for a long time. They trusted Principal Yi Chongqing from the bottom of their hearts. Yi Chongqing was not the kind of person who only cared about himself and did not care about the big picture. "The next one is this fruit tree," Li Chenglong said in a deep voice. "This baptism fruit tree has been through tens of thousands of years. It has become a treasure. With this tree, as long as you live long enough, you will be able to obtain a considerable amount of heart-cleansing fruit every 3,500 years. If everyone can live long enough, everyone's descendants will be able to get a share." At this point, everyone's eyes suddenly lit up. It seemed that they could get a lot of benefits. I personally suggest that this fruit tree be temporarily placed in my private cave abode. My private cave abode is a world of its own and will not delay the growth of the fruit tree. This is also the only way we can take this fruit tree away. If Zwa returns, I will immediately hand this tree over to Zwa. Zwa's cave abode has better conditions than mine and is more suitable for the cultivation of spirit plants. When he said this, Li Qinglong hesitated for a moment but still said it. This was because this was the only way to maximize the benefits. Although the Ying Zhao cave abode that he had obtained had the ability to change the flow of time, it was far inferior to Zwa Xiaodui's Tower of Annihilation. Li Qinglong was well aware of this. If Zwa does not return, then I will temporarily take care of it on behalf of everyone. When it bears fruit in the future, apart from those who are still alive who can participate in the distribution, those who were unfortunately sacrificed, as long as they are descendants, will still have the right to get a share of the fruit. I mean, in case there are people who were unlucky enough to die. Li Qinglong looked at everyone. What does everyone think? No objections. Everyone nodded in unison without hesitation, indicating that they agreed with Li Qinglong's suggestion. Li Qinglong had even considered the life and death of his descendants. He was much more thorough than the others. He was truly far-sighted. So, how could he have any objections? Also, regarding that strange demon beast, whose name we don't know, there is not much left that can be used now. What I mean is that this demon beast has about 13,000 kilograms of flesh and blood left. We should divide it evenly. Li Qinglong raised his hand to stop everyone from speaking. Listen to me first before you voice your opinions. The flesh and blood of these demon beasts are also excellent things that can improve your cultivation. Once it is in your hands, no matter what you do with it, it is your personal choice. No one will restrict you. As for whether you ultimately choose to hand it over to the military, to the school, to your family, or even to keep it for yourself to improve your cultivation, it is everyone's freedom. No one is allowed to interfere. This is the first point. Then, the bones of the demon beast will be equally distributed. Once it is in your hands, you can use it however you want. Whether it is to make weapons or to make wine, it is up to you to decide. Thirdly, there must be bone pearls and marrow pearls in this demon beast body. We will cut it open later to determine the number. If there are 14 pearls, each person will get one, including Zwa and sister-in-law. If there is more, we will donate the excess. If there is not enough, even if there is only one less, we will donate it all. I do not allow and do not hope that there will be any complaints or unfair situations in our team. Does anyone have any objections to this? No. Everyone shook their heads in unison. As for the demon beast's inner core, it is estimated that there is only one of it. If it can be divided, everyone can solve on the spot and use it as your personal foundation. If it cannot be divided, then donate it. For this inner core, Zwa and sister-in-law will not be considered. Chapter 1142. Let's see if this inner core can be solved on the spot. If it can be absorbed separately, the faster the better. That's the best way to get the most benefits. Does anyone have any objections? No. Li Qinglong smiled. If so, let's go. Let's improve our strength first. Then we'll go out and find Zwa. Okay. Long Yuxing laughed. After eating this, our strength will definitely improve considerably. Maybe we can even surpass Zwa's level. If that's the case, when we see Zwa again, we won't be in a hurry to give him the sacred fruit. We have to take turns to fight with him first. If we don't take revenge first, we'll be walking in the dark and nobody will see us. That's right. That guy has beaten me up badly these years. Li Zhongming grinned. Yu Moyan's eyes flashed. Apparently, he was also eager to try. Li Qinglong smiled knowingly and said, "Since that's the case, then let's make a happy decision. We'll beat him up first and then give him the fruit." Wan Lixio pondered and said, "Then, what if he surpasses us again after eating the fruit and then turns around to beat us again? What should we do?" Pausing for a moment, he continued, "Have you all forgotten about Boss Zwa's temper? After suffering our revenge, when he regains the upper hand in strength and can fight back, he will be despicable to the heavens." Everyone was speechless. In fact, it wasn't just a possibility, it was a definite possibility. "What you're discussing has nothing to do with me. I'm loyal to Zwa." Gao Qiaoer smiled. You'll have to worry about this profound problem by yourselves. Well, before the revenge plan could be carried out, there was already a traitor. Long Yusheng and the others were all depressed. Forget it. How can we be the ones to take revenge on our boss? Sai, give up, give up. Ha. Hurry up and cultivate. There's a seal in this broken place that isolates everything from the outside world. We don't know anything. It's like being isolated from the world. It's fine. It's only been a few days. What big changes can happen outside? Eat the fruit, eat the fruit. After eating the fruit, we'll split the inner core. Hurry up and catch up with Zwa. The book was short. Of the 18 fruits, each person ate one. There were still 6 left. They were still hanging from the branches and had not been picked. Then everyone worked together to dig a hole that was at least 1,000 feet wide. After confirming that not a single strand of hair had been damaged, Li Qinglong moved them all into Ing Zhao's immortal's cave. By the time the demonic beast's body was completely divided, only one inner core was left. The efficacy of the sacred fruit had gradually increased to the point where everyone had to circulate their martial arts to dissolve it bit by bit. Everyone naturally didn't dare to be negligent. They all sat down cross-legged and naturally formed a defensive formation for each other. They began to cultivate and digest the enormous medicinal strength. The effect of the sacred fruit was really magical. It actually expelled all the impurities from everyone's body, forming a kind of complete cleansing state from the inside out. However, the atmosphere around the 12 people sitting together was worse than if they had fallen into a latrine pit. Everywhere was filled with the stench of vomit, and they couldn't move. The men were slightly better off, but the 6 ladies were so embarrassed that they almost fainted. Which one of them wasn't a fragrant little fairy? Now, it was so smelly that they couldn't smell it. There were so many people around, and they had to continue to stay in this state, unable to move at all, that this kind of dark history would probably be talked about for the rest of their lives. But the situation was like this. The 6 women, who were well aware of the pros and cons, could only choose to close their eyes and pretend that they were completely in a state of meditation. They pretended that they couldn't see or smell anything. None of this has anything to do with me. It was like you could never wake up a person who was pretending to be asleep. Pretending to be in a state of meditation could also avoid the current awkwardness. Although it was self-deception, the effect was still remarkable. As they cultivated and pretended to be in a state of meditation, they listened to the men beside them who couldn't hold back their laughter. Gao Xiao, and the others were so angry that their lungs almost exploded. They all swore that if there was a next time, no matter what, they wouldn't cultivate with such a group of men. What the hell is this? Listen to what they are saying. Buffed. So smelly. What's that smell? It's such a strange smell. You say it's smelly, and there's a little fragrance. One idiot. That fragrance is clearly the smell of cosmetics. You idiot. Cosmetics smell. Yes. Could it be that this smell? You guessed right. Io, Long Yusheng, your wife is smelly. Your wife is the one who is smelly. It's so strange. Aren't the little fairies all fragrant? Why is there such a smell? What do you know? Even if you were a fairy, you still have to eat grains. There's also that. What's that? Scram? Among the group of men, only Yumoyan was more taciturn. The rest of them, such as Li Qinglong, Long Yusheng, Li Changming, Pai Yibao, and Xiang Cheng, each one of them could be counted as one after another. One after another, they talked with delight, and their crow-like laughter never stopped. What was most intolerable was that in the end, the silent Yin actually joined in. The moment he joined in, it was as if he had opened up a chatterbox. The intensity of his conversation was not inferior to the other 5 people. It was as if he was a completely different person from usual. The 6 men chatted enthusiastically, as happy as mice, as if they were celebrating the new year. It proved that men who were not married had limited EQ. Even someone as wise and steady as Li Qinglong was lacking EQ. The most direct result appeared very quickly. After they finished cultivating, the 6 women found a place to take a bath. Then they turned into 6 ice mountains. Strangers are not allowed to enter. The most miserable ones were Li Chenglong, Long Yuxing, Li Chongming, and Umo Yin. Xiang Bing, Wan Li Xiu, Yu Yin and Dugan did not even look at their fiancé. It was as if they would never talk to each other again and break up. Gao Xiao and Zhun Piapiao were still beating the drums on the side. They seemed to be calm, but in fact, every beat hit the vital points. Their tongues were as sharp as knives, and every word hit the heart. He, a man who even laughs at his own wife. I really don't know how to rely on him. What kind of person is this? He doesn't even protect his own wife. What can we expect from him in the future? Husband and wife are birds in the same forest, but when disaster strikes, they fly away separately. This sentence is really true. If it was me, I would have broken up with him. If not, would you let him stay for the new year? I really don't see what's so good about him. How can such a stinky man deserve a wife? Li Chenglong and the other three were in a terrible state. They kept apologizing, but this time, they had really offended him. Xiang Bing and the others did not show any mercy. Du Yin had just shown signs of softening when she was mocked by the other 5 women. Oh, there's a traitor among us. Can't you be more promising? With a woman like Yin around, when will the status of women be raised? If he can still be forgiven like this, we should have cut him off tonight when he's unprepared. Under the hostile gazes of her sisters, Dinner had no choice but to continue not forgiving Umo, no matter how Li Chenglong and the others bowed and apologized. In the end, their hearts were as hard as steel. When it was time to absorb the spiritual energy of the inner core, the 6 women did not hesitate to pay 3 times the price to cut the inner core and let the 6 of them find a place to absorb it. No matter what, they would not be with these stinky men. We've been completely hurt by these stinky men. All of you just wait for me. Go away. During this special training process, the mainland of Astral Souls, Zhua Shuai's team, and the women's rights organization suddenly became a fighting force. This indifference lasted until the absorption of the inner core was completed and everyone left the valley. Finally, there was a change. Moreover, it was not a change of heart. Instead, it was a piece of news that made everyone's hearts heavier than ever. Only then did they gather to discuss things. The thing was that Zhua Xiaoduo had finally reappeared in the world that now, at this moment, he was in Shangjing. That what was even more shocking, or to everyone, was the extremely negative news that Qin Fangyang was killed. He Yuanyua's grave was destroyed. Zhua Xiaoduo was in Shangjing, planning revenge. It was said that he had turned the world upside down. The current situation in Shangjing was unpredictable and unpredictable. Extreme conflicts were inevitable. When they heard this news, they did not even have the time to be happy that they had found Zhua Xiaoduo. Instead, they were stunned by the bad news. Especially Long Yuxing, Li Zhongming, Wan Li Xiu, Li Chenglong, and Umo Yin, the 5 of them felt as if they had been hit hard on the head. Their bodies swayed, and stars appeared in front of their eyes. Umo Yin sat on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. His face was pale. After this upgrade, everyone's cultivation had reached the peak of the nascent profound realm. Moreover, it was suppressed more than 10 times with the help of the Sacred Heart cleansing fruit. In terms of the quality and quantity of spiritual energy, they had reached the level of breaking through to the sky realm. The only thing they lacked was a kind of enlightenment. As long as this enlightenment came, 12 sky realm cultivators would be born on this continent. Moreover, the medicinal efficacy of the heart-cleansing sacred fruit was still in the stage where it could continue to exert its effect. Even if they broke through the current realm, it could still push their cultivation base a big step forward on the basis of the sky rank. With this kind of cultivation as the foundation, Umo Yin, who had completely recovered and was not injured, was stimulated to the point that he spat out blood. It could be seen how big of a shock this news had to everyone. Chapter 1143. Li Chenglong's eyes were bloodshot, and his killing intent was unprecedented. At all costs, we must avenge the old principal and Mr. Qin. Let's go to Shangjing now. Xiang Bing, Xiang Chong, and the others all expressed their support. Therefore, the team of 12 didn't disband. Instead, all of them rushed to Shangjing overnight. Li Chenglong contacted Zhou Xiaoduo as he rushed. He needed to know what was going on. What was going on here? He had to make early preparations and plans for the upcoming extreme war. Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xianyan couldn't do anything about their grandpa's sudden change from the role of the demon ancestor to the role of a pig pretending to be dead in his room. On the second day after their grandpa entered his room, Zhuo Xiaoduo saw that it was already past 7 in the morning. Therefore, he and Zhuo Xianyan went to knock on the door and asked their grandpa to come out for breakfast. They saw the demon ancestor with a warm white towel on his forehead. He opened the door and walked out with a sickly face. Then, he said something that terrified Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xianyan. They almost lost their minds on the spot. "I have a cold. I have a cold." As soon as they heard these words, their brains immediately crashed, and then they were horrified. All that was left was horror. Looking at their grandpa's sickly and weak face, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xianyan finally came back to their senses. They were speechless. What else could they do? They could only say that they believed him. A top master of the generation, one of the top masters in the world, a lofty figure like the almighty immortal, told them that he had a cold. What else could they do other than express their horror? Once a martial artist reached the primordial core realm, they would be immune to the illnesses of ordinary people for the rest of their lives. At the very least, those minor illnesses and disasters that belong to ordinary people would not be able to get close to them. However, this old man, who had reached the primordial core realm, could actually force himself to catch a cold once in order to avoid working for his grandson. This operation was really crazy. He was so drunk that he could topple a city with his drunkenness. Then, he could topple a country with his drunkenness. There was truly no one else like him. No one else, really no one else. According to their original plan, Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xianyan went out to visit the Liu family. After leaving the house, Zhuo Xiaoduo shook his head and sighed all the way. "Do you know why we can't be salted fish? You know that we're the most powerful second generation, but we still have to work hard every day and put in so much effort to fight for ourselves. This is the reason. This is the reason." So Xiaoduo paused for a while and continued to sigh. "Just look at our grandfather and you'll know. As the saying goes, if the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked. With our grandfather in such a state, our parents have directly left the mainland. If we don't work hard and take care of ourselves, we might as well rely on them. It's more realistic to expect a pie from the sky." Zhuo Xiaoduo's face was full of depression. His face was dispirited, and his 7 emotions were written all over his face. The surprise and excitement of knowing that he was a super second generation only existed for a few minutes. It shattered like a dream. The difficulty of life is, you can rely on your looks, but you have to rely on your talent. You can rely on your parents, but you have to work hard on your own. You can win without doing anything, but you are forced to risk your life. You want to be a salted fish, but you are forced to become a shark. What can you do? Life is really not as you wish. Zhuo Xiaoduo said with infinite melancholy, "Tell me, what's the use of me being a super second generation?" Zhuo Xianyan rolled her eyes. She didn't know whether this guy was complaining or showing off. On the surface, it sounded like he was complaining. However, with Zhuo Xianyan and Zhuo Xiaoduo being together for so many years, how could she not understand this guy's thoughts? This guy couldn't be judged by common sense. If it weren't for my perseverance, if it weren't for my overflowing talent. Sure enough, Zhuo Xiaoduo naturally changed from complaining to bragging. "What are you going to do next?" Zhuo Xianyan blurted out, rudely interrupting Zhuo Xiaoduo's bragging. "Don't you see that none of these old guys are willing to help us? What else can we do? We can't do anything." Zhuo Xiaoduo sighed. "Now we can only take one step at a time. If we find an opportunity, we naturally have to lie down. However, if we want to win without doing anything, it's definitely impossible. Grandpa even used the trick of pretending to be sick. That's obvious." So Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. "I think so too. However, don't you think that our grandfather can actually say that he has caught a cold? Don't you think that it's an amazing sight? Zhua Xiaoduo said with a distressed expression. Thinking of this, Zhua Xiaonian helped to explain, but her body honestly couldn't help laughing. Ha ha. I guess he really didn't have any other choice. He had no choice but to do this. Do you really want to win without doing anything? Zhua Xiaonian asked seriously. This time, Zhua Xiaoduo seriously considered it for a long time. After a long time, they had already walked 500 or 600 steps. Zhua Xiaoduo said in a heartbroken, dejected, and disappointed tone, Life. As long as you can win without doing anything, who would be willing to risk their lives? As long as you can live well, who would be willing to wander about? Isn't it the same principle? Zhua Xiaoduo sighed sadly. It's a pity that now it's destined to be a dream. It's impossible. Impossible? Zhua Xiaonian looked at Zhua Xiaoduo's face with her bright eyes. It's impossible. Zhua Xiaoduo sighed. Ever since I found out about our parents' true identities, I knew that it's impossible to win without doing anything. If Grandpa was the only one at the peak and Mom and Dad were just juniors, then we still have a chance to win without doing anything. There's no problem at all. But now, Zhua Xiaoduo sighed dejectedly and walked forward with heavy steps. The family has 3 people at the peak at the same time. Each of them has a high position and power, and their cultivation is unparalleled. As their children will only be under more pressure. Zhua Xiaonian also sighed and said, Yes, I have the same feeling. I don't need to explain it in 400 to 500 words, right? The 2 of them went all the way to the Liu family. They didn't know if it was an illusion or if it was real. Both of them felt that their figures were much taller and straighter than before. Even their appearances were much more dignified than before. Even their demeanor seemed to be intentionally or unintentionally approaching the most perfect side of them. They didn't force it, nor did they have any other thoughts. Everything was so natural, almost instinctive. Therefore, a young man and a young woman appeared in front of the Liu family's door. There was an indescribable elegance, an indescribable elegance, and an indescribable elegance. The courtesy and treatment given by the Liu family was also extraordinarily high-end. The door of the main house was wide open. 2 rows of Liu family members stood neatly on both sides. The head of the Liu family, his wife, and several elders of the Liu family came out to welcome them. Honorable guests, please excuse me for not going out to meet you. The head of the Liu family, Liu Yingfeng, was very tall and straight. He looked at Zhua Xiaoduo and Zhua Xiaonian with an indescribable fondness and kindness in his eyes. These were his daughter's 2 favorite students in her life. Now that they had come to the Liu family, it was like his daughter, who had been away for more than 80 years, had returned to her mother's home. This kind of feeling that could only be felt in dreams made Liu Yingfeng's heart sour and soft. Old master, you don't have to care so much. You are our elder. Zhua Xiaonian said obediently. We're here to visit the old lady on behalf of Grandma He. Her words immediately made all the members of the Liu family feel cordial. Many people's eyes even reddened. Madame Liu, who was beside the head of the Liu family, suddenly trembled and tears almost fell. Good girl, come in quickly. Come in. Don't stand at the door when you're home. Madame Liu held Zhua Xiaonian's hand and walked in. In a trance, it seemed that her daughter had returned to her arms again. She was still at the prime of her life, and she was still delicate and obedient. The scene that she had dreamed of countless times in the middle of the night was condensed in front of her eyes. At the moment of the ups and downs of her heart, it was difficult for her to restrain herself. Tears were full and almost burst out of her eyes. Zhua Xiaoduo smiled and suddenly said loudly, I am a student of Phoenix City's second high school. Zhua Xiaoduo, I am a successor of the old principal, He Yuanyue's Qi observation technique. Today, I came to Shangjing to visit the Liu family. On behalf of the old principal, I would like to greet your parents who have been away for many years. He took 2 steps back and bowed deeply with utmost respect. Liu Yingfeng's lips trembled. For a moment, she couldn't speak. Her throat seemed to be blocked by surging emotions. In accordance with the wishes of the old principal, I have prepared a few gifts for the elderly. I hope that the elderly will be healthy, happy, and have a long life. Liu Yingfeng said in a hoarse voice, Child, Your arrival is already the best gift. So Xiaoduo said, I'll give the Liu family 3 7th grade, 9th grade face retaining elixirs. I hope that madam will be young forever. 10 longevity golden elixirs. 10 beast cores of king level demonic beasts. 10 poison avoidance pearls. 10,000 years elixirs. 50 kilograms of emperor level monster meat. 10 divine weapons and sabers. Zhou Xiaoduo took out 99 gifts without hesitation. Some of these things were owned by Zhou Xiaoduo. Some were collected with the help of Zhou Xiaoyan. Some were given by his parents in the past, and some were just asked from his grandfather. Zhou Xiaoduo did not hesitate, nor was he stingy. He took everything out. Zhou Xiaoduo had never been so generous in his life. But this time, he didn't care about the cost and was very sincere. He wanted to make up for the old principal's regret of not being filial to his parents. No matter how much it cost, Zhou Xiaoduo didn't hesitate. In order to give face to the old principal, not to mention these things, even if Zhou Xiaoduo had to go bankrupt and contribute all his wealth, he would still take it out. Chapter 1144. Hearing this series of gifts, the entire Liu family was shocked. The bitterness, relief, glory, surprise, and the softness and longing in the depths of their hearts all exploded at this moment. Too much, too much. Liu Yingfeng murmured with tears in his eyes. The Liu family was also a family with a long history. Every family that could be ranked among the ranks of the aristocratic families in Shangjing was in existence with a large family business. However, many of the gifts that Zhou Xiaoduo gave this time were the best of the best. There were even many treasures. Just one of them was enough to become the heirloom of a top aristocratic family, like the Liu family in Shangjing. And Zhou Xiaoduo took out hundreds of such things at once. Compared to everything that the Liu family's old principal has done for Phoenix City, this is not much at all. Zhou Xiaoduo said seriously, we're just afraid that it's not enough to express our sincerity. Please, old man, don't refuse. This is our sincerity as students, and also a sincerity on behalf of the old principal. Zhou Xiaoyan and Zhou Xiaoduo bowed together and said. Liu Yingfeng sighed softly, holding back the surging emotions in his heart. He tried his best to control it, but his voice was still hoarse and trembling. He said, Okay, then put it all away. Yes. The several elders did not dare to let others do it, so they did it themselves. These treasures were really too precious. With these as a foundation, as long as they were used properly, it was enough to ensure the prosperity of the Liu family for thousands of years. And all of this was only because the Liu family raised a good daughter. Madame Liu was sobbing, holding the 3 face retaining pills that were given to her. She cried until she could not speak. Although these 3 face retaining pills were given by Zhou Xiaoduo, she clearly felt that the daughter that she missed the most and loved the most was standing in front of her and putting the pills in her hands. She seemed to be able to clearly hear her daughter say with admiration, Mom, I'm leaving. Take care. At this moment, Madame Liu only felt that her liver and intestines were cut to pieces, and she was in so much pain that she wanted to die. Even if she had to give up the entire world, even if all these things were gone, as long as she could get her daughter back home, she would do anything. But it was impossible. Pass down my order. Today, the Liu family will hold a grand banquet to celebrate. LV Yingfeng's voice trembled as he ordered. Invite all the students from Phoenix City, as long as they are still in Shangjing. Liu family, let's have a family feast. As a teacher, my greatest achievement is to have students all over the world. The happiest, the most glorious, and the happiest thing was that the students who had graduated for so many years still remembered to write to him, and even came to visit him at home. This is the lifetime achievement of a teacher, the true achievement, the greatest achievement. I'll entertain the students on behalf of my Qianqian and your old principal. Open the family's oldest storehouse and take out the Liu family's oldest wine. Let's get drunk today. We won't go home until we're drunk. Xiao Duo, Xiaoyan, please. This is the home of your old principal, and also the home of Phoenix City's second high school. It will always be, please. The Liu family celebrated this day as a festival. The entire family was busy. All the disciples of the Liu family who were not far from here were summoned back, especially he you and you as brothers. Your sister's students are here to visit the family. Come back and meet them. Look good and dress up. Don't embarrass your sister. Come back quickly. Before the banquet, the head of the Liu family brought Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan into the study. Madame Liu returned to the inner residence to rest because she was too emotional. The head of the Liu family study was very large and magnificent. However, what really attracted Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan's attention was a painting on the wall. The painting was of a peerless young girl in purple. Her eyebrows and eyes were as picturesque as a painting, and there was still a hint of youthfulness that had not faded. Not only was she delicate and cute, but she was also full of heroic spirit. She was holding a long sword in her hand as if she was playing with it. Her hair was like a waterfall, and her eyes were full of wisdom. A few wisps of wind blew through the window at the right time. The beautiful girl in the painting seemed to come alive in the gentle breeze. Her clothes fluttered, and she was in high spirits. Liu Yingfeng saw the two of them looking at the painting and smiled. This is Qianqian. This is the old principal. Zhuo Xiaoduo and Zhuo Xiaoyan were in disbelief. After all, in their hearts, the old principal was that old man with white hair and wrinkled skin who was confined to a wheelchair all year round. There were a few lines of words on the painting. My beloved daughter, Qianqian, the most tender and delicate girl. My flesh and blood is tied to her heart. She was called a talent since childhood. Her beauty is comparable to that of a fairy. When the storm arose, she carried her sword to Tiannan. There were many ghosts in Jianghu, but her wings were broken and she was buried in the human world. Flesh and blood nurtured seedlings, a new chapter of the Loyal Heart Manual. She did not return for 100 years. Only by the phoenix's side. Young eagles soared to the sky. Plums and peach blossoms rejoiced everywhere. She thought in her heart every day and held in her dreams every night. If there is the meaning of reincarnation, we will continue our fate in the next life. The two of them recited softly and savored the taste carefully. The wording of the poem was quite ordinary. The words and sentences could even be said to be crude. The tone was also not standard. However, the strong emotions that flowed out of it could be seen at a glance and entered one's heart and soul. As long as one knew about this matter, when they saw this poem, there was no one who was not moved. This is my daughter's portrait. I drew the painting. I wrote the poem. Liu Yingfeng looked at his daughter in the painting, his eyes full of love as before. When Qianqian met with the accident, I still didn't know how to draw. I heard that. If a painting entered the divine path, the words would be followed by the law. With a single stroke, the person in the painting could return to the human world and reconstruct a body of flesh and blood. This old man began to cultivate painstakingly from then on. It has been close to 100 years now. I always thought about when I could draw my daughter and bring her back to life healthily and adorably. Then, she would hug my neck and call me daddy. I always knew that she was teaching in Phoenix City, but her cultivation was destroyed and her face was old. She begged me not to see her. At first, I could still sneak a few glances, but later, that brat Xin Fangyang came to Phoenix City. But this old man missed her every day. Liu Yingfeng looked at the portrait in a daze and muttered, now, she is finally free. Gone. She will never call me daddy again. Even if there is an afterlife, even if there is reincarnation, she is no longer my treasure. I don't know whose treasure she has become. I hope that family can love and love their daughter as much as I do. He reached out, his fingers gently brushing the portrait as if he wanted to fix his daughter's messy hair that was blown by the wind. This old man is really happy to see you too. Liu Yingfeng exhaled from the bottom of his heart and said with relief and sadness, every time I see the students from Phoenix City's second high school, it is as if I see Qianqian's life's work. They are all like my grandchildren. That's great. Lu Yingfeng said. Zhuo and Zhuo did not know what they were feeling. They only felt countless emotions rushing into their hearts. It was an extremely complicated and indescribable feeling that could not be described with words. In the portrait, there was a girl with peerless beauty. In Phoenix City, there was a white-haired, skinny old woman in a wheelchair that for a moment they felt suffocated and panicked. The three of them sat in the study. Lu Yingfeng made tea and greeted them. Zhuo Xiaoyan stepped forward, took the teapot, and poured tea for the three of them. The portrait was hung on the wall. The wind blew in from the window, gently moving it up and down. Ever since the portrait was hung, Lu Yingfeng's study window had never been closed. His daughter liked to play outside, especially the garden outside the study. Now, his daughter's favorite flower had grown into a big flower tree with a canopy of more than 20 meters. The old thing was still there, but the person was no longer there. On the first day of my daughter's birth, the first person to carry her was me. I still remember that day, in my arms, the little ball of meat that had yet to open her eyes. Lu Yingfeng stood in front of the portrait and looked at it lovingly. When Qianqian was young, she liked to ride on my neck and take her to the garden. The first word she learned was daddy. Tears welled up in his eyes, and then they turned into a cloud of smoke. Then, he did not say anything. Instead, he turned around and sat in front of the desk. This is all I know about the Wang family. Lu Yingfeng casually handed over a document. This is the part of the Lu family's revenge and the progress. This is the direction of our future actions. This is... Lu Yingfeng's face was elegant, and his figure was slender. He looked like a middle-aged scholar, gentle and refined. In fact, he was certified by the top families in Shangjing as a peaceful person who stood aloof from worldly affairs and was kind to others. However, after receiving the news that Yu's tomb had been destroyed, Lu Yingfeng's entire person changed. Even his state of mind, which was as still as water and rarely fluctuated, was destroyed. I know why you are here, and I also know that you will have follow-up actions. But this matter is not only your matter. The Lu family will never back out. Even if I have to wipe out the entire clan and bury it, I will avenge my daughter. So far, the Wang family's various shops, businesses, clubs, venues, and companies have been destroyed by us. Lu Yingfeng said indifferently, but this is far from enough. It is far from enough to hurt the Wang family. My request is not high. No matter what, I still have to give some face to the hero of the continent, the war god of astral souls. I have never thought of exterminating the Wang family. My ultimate goal is to mobilize the Wang family, and then I will personally dig up their ancestral tombs. Other than Heavenly King Guhong's tomb, I will dig up all the other tombs. This is the ultimate goal of the Lu family. The simplest way to end this is an eye for an eye. You dug up my daughter's tomb, so I will dig up their ancestral tombs. As for the grudge, we can settle it slowly. In the future, there will be plenty of time. One day, either the Lu family or the Wang family will be wiped out. The grudge will also end one day. My daughter, I was the first one to hold her. I was the first one to bring her into this world. Now, the last thing she will do in this world will also be done by me, her father. Chapter 1145. Lu Yingfeng was very calm. Since the decision has been made, there's no need to hesitate. As for you, students of Phoenix City, if you have the ability and are willing to help, I'm grateful. The Lu family is grateful, but everyone has to act according to your ability. Your old principal nurtured you for the future well-being of this continent and the safety of the human race. She definitely doesn't want to see you die here to avenge her. So, in principle, we don't want the students of Phoenix City to interfere in this matter. If there's really any damage, we won't be able to explain it to Qianqian in the future. Moreover, I don't want my Qianqian to accuse me of using her students to strengthen the Lu family. For a moment, Zhuo and Zhuo Xiaoyan were speechless. Lu Yingfeng's attitude was very clear and firm. At noon that day, all the members of the Lu family gathered for a family banquet. The fragrance of wine almost covered 100 miles. At least 1/10 of Shangjing City could smell this wine. Lu Yingfeng was drunk at this banquet. My daughter's life wasn't long, but she had a clear conscience. It was very meaningful and very accomplished. I, Lu Yingfeng, am proud of my daughter. Our Lu family has benefited from our daughter after all. I'm happy. I'm proud. I miss her. After lunch, Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan left the Lu family. They wanted to discuss with Lu Yingfeng how to deal with the Wang family together. But Lu Yingfeng's attitude was very firm. He didn't oppose or interfere with Zhou Xiaoduo dealing with the Wang family, but it was impossible to talk about working together. For Lu Yingfeng, he was very stubborn. He stubbornly wanted to use his own strength and identity as a father to stand up for his daughter. He couldn't let his daughter feel that there was no one in her family. In the process, if he borrowed the strength of others, he would feel that he was an incompetent father, that he didn't do his best, and that he had let down his dead daughter. Therefore, he was so stubborn. He insisted on using the Lu family's strength to take revenge. He would go as far as he could. He wanted his daughter to see, "Daughter, your father will definitely not hold back at all." It could be said that he was truly going all out. Although this method was very illusory and her daughter wouldn't take it seriously, it was even more unrealistic. However, Lu Yingfeng insisted. This elegant family head of the Liu family was very reasonable in everything, but this matter was like a demon in his heart. He would never back down, never give in, and there was no room for negotiation or mediation. Faced with such a situation, Zhou Xiaoduo and Zhou Xiaoyan were at their wits' end. The only thing they could do was to be a little more proactive, to put in a little more effort to eliminate as much of the Wang clan's strength as possible, so that the Lu clan would be able to preserve a little more strength after this incident. If the Lu family were to suffer too many losses in this battle, or even be buried with the Wang family, that would not be worth it. After leaving the Liu family, the two of them flew up into the sky and stood a few thousand meters high in the air. Zhou Xiaoduo chose a position that faced the north and south and used the long-awaited Qi observation technique to observe the feng shui trend of Shangjing City. There was no doubt that the Wang clan wanted to plunder the providence of others. Based on this point, Zhou Xiaoduo decided to take a look at this aspect. Perhaps he could try the old Phoenix City incident and let the Wang family follow in the footsteps of the Meng family. Although Zhou Xiaoduo himself knew that the possibility was not high, and it was too dangerous. Don't look at the feng shui of Shangjing casually. He Yuanyue had once warned Zhou Xiaoduo seriously. This was because Shangjing's providence was too strong. It was also the place where the providence of the human race's dragon vein gathered. If Zhou Xiaoduo rashly used the aura observation technique to scan the fate of Shangjing, it was very likely that the dragon vein would backfire on him. This was definitely not a good thing for Zhou Xiaoduo. It was precisely because of this that Zhou Xiaoduo hadn't dared to act rashly since he came to Shangjing. However, he still used the power of karmic luck he possessed to secretly let the little dragon out to investigate and then experiment again and again. It had to be said that Shangjing's providence was tyrannical and complex. It could be said that Zhou Xiaoduo had never dreamed of it before. Fenghai City was known as the ancient capital of the Nine Dynasties. However, the difference between Fenghai City's providence and Shangjing's was like heaven and earth. There was no comparison at all. If Shangjing was a vast ocean, then Fenghai City was probably not even a small pond. The providence was crisscrossed from south to north, from east to west. It was unknown how many interests were entangled, how much providence was mixed, and how much providence was fighting and competing with each other. That countless amounts of dragon vein qi were faintly discernible and disorderly. There were even lively dragon veins hovering wantonly in the air. It was actually the providence dragon that had manifested itself. Although the manifested providence dragon was far less solid and agile than Zhou Xiaoduo's Xiaolong, and even had no ability to communicate other than instinctively devouring that, however, such a dragon of providence was the most dangerous. Even a ruthless character like Xiaolong, who had been dealing with providence dragon veins and earth veins all year round, would still have lingering fears after returning to the space after coming out and taking a look around. He was unwilling to come out and take risks so easily. To use Xiaolong's analogy, he was a normal person, but the people outside were a group of lunatics who had lost their minds and only knew how to devour each other. And when a normal person faced a group of lunatics, even if he had thousands of methods, it was still an extremely dangerous thing to do. Therefore, Zhuo Xiaoduo had been worried all this time. However, after thoroughly understanding the Wang family's plan, Zhuo Xiaoduo did not want to wait any longer. He had to see what was going on. In view of this, he simply pulled Zhuo Xiaoyan up with him this time. Although Zhuo Xiaoyan did not understand the Providence observation technique, she had already condensed an extremely powerful Providence aura in her body. This Providence aura was not only closely connected to the Providence aura of the mainland because of the Phoenix City Great Array back then, but it also faintly had the momentum of surpassing the mainland situation in the astral souls. In Zhuo Xiaoduo's opinion, he most likely would not be able to bear the backlash of Shang Jing's Providence aura alone. However, if Zhuo Xiaoyan's Providence aura was by his side to supplement him, even if there was still a backlash, it would not be a big problem. Standing in the sky above Shang Jing, he observed the Providence aura below from the closest distance. Zhuo Xiaoduo could not help but sigh in his heart. It was really too awesome. The dragon chi was really too much. Naturally, his next instinctive thought was, if Xiaolong could devour all the dragon chi here, Xiaolong would probably directly leap to a level that could not be more awesome. However, Zhuo Xiaoduo also knew in his heart that this was just a thought, not to mention how to actually put it into action, how to peel the silk from the cocoon, and how to sort out the huge amount of dragon chi here. Just the fact that this was the core of the mainland of the astral souls, and once a large amount of dragon chi here dissipated, it would definitely cause the human race's Providence aura to lose in the astral souls, and even the entire continent would collapse. Therefore, even if Xiaolong really had the ability to do so, he absolutely could not do so. Not to mention that after a slight contact last time, that fellow had curled up and did not dare to come out. It really did not want to and did not dare to face that group of lunatics again. To Xiaolong, they were a group of lunatics who had completely lost their rationality and had no trade-offs. They only knew how to devour and strengthen themselves. If there were only 1, 2, 10, 8, or even 30 to 50 dragon chi, Xiaolong would definitely have jumped out long ago. Even if Zhuo Xiaoduo stopped him, Xiaolong would actively work hard to sneak out and destroy them one by one to complete himself. However, the dangerous situation now was, there were too many dragon chi. It could be said that ants could bite an elephant to death in real life. No matter how fierce a tiger was, it would be afraid of a group of wolves. Especially now, it was not just a problem of one group, but countless groups. Zhuo Xiaoduo looked at the crisscrossing, entangled, and crazily biting each other. Then he looked at the entire sky of Shangjing City and the various providences that were even more tangled than tangled hemp. He muttered, Nian Mao, the situation of the Providence aura of the mainland of the astral souls is actually like this. From the current situation, it seems that the Providence aura of the mainland is gradually losing. Zhuo Xiaoyan said, losing? What do you mean? It's really too messy. It's not terrible to be in a mess, as it can still be sorted out. However, the conflicts, fighting, and even devouring each other are the source of destruction. Now, the constant fighting at the border is already a huge external threat. As for the mainland, it has been peaceful for too long, and it has become a huge internal threat. The Providence aura of each family is fighting for themselves and has begun to devour each other. More importantly, this situation has been going on for a very, very long time. As the saying goes, a century-old dynasty and a 1,000-year-old aristocratic family. However, our unified dynasty has existed for too long. It has been more than 6,000 years. This has been going on for too long. It's so long that it can breed. Any unfairness, any corruption, and any conscience will be lost. The hot blood at the border is also a distant matter for the powerful people in the mainland. Shangjing and the Sun Moon Pass have evolved into two completely different things. Over there, people are gathering, fighting, sacrificing, shouting, and replenishing. But over here, there is internal strife. In the capital, people are fighting for power and profit. They are losing their conscience. They are recklessly forgetting their roots. The Sun Moon Pass is desperately fighting for power, but over here, it has begun to disperse for a long time. Xiaoduo heaved a long sigh of relief. The Sun Moon Pass has protected the mainland too well. Really, peace can only be a blessing in the short term. Xiaoduo murmured. For the people, too long of a peace may not be a good thing. Xiaoyan said, but everyone is looking forward to peace. No one wants to see war. But sometimes the sacrifices and blood that happen around can awaken too many numb consciences and consciences that have been destroyed. Xiaoduo sighed. Because only when one's own interests are invaded and destroyed will people understand the preciousness of beauty. People will only wake up and regret at the last moment. Everything that they once held in their hands, everything that they owned, will not be reborn. Chapter 1146. Xiaoduo pointed to the front and said, Look, there are at least 17 or 18 dragon veins in Shangjing that are fighting against each other. These dragon veins are actually fighting for the opportunity to enter the astral souls. I really don't know, and I'm even suspicious. What gives these families the confidence to think that they won't be punished for entering the astral souls? Among these dragon veins, there are clearly too many people who have no foundation and are riddled with holes. This is the result of a failed rebellion, and they are being devoured. There are also some dragon veins that seem to be plotting and accumulating power. But in fact, before they really take action, they're already fighting and devouring each other and are gradually dispersing. Yes, there are also the dragon veins left behind by the Dragon of Destiny that have already soared into the sky. They are quietly waiting and guarding. There are so many dragon veins and luck, it's too messy and messy. There's no clue. If it weren't for the ancestral dragon's veins that can still suppress all parties, the layout of Shangjing's veins would have collapsed long ago. Look, with the arrival of the era of geniuses, new veins are constantly being born in this world. Although they're still very weak, they are constantly wandering and wandering, obviously looking for opportunities to form dragon veins, and also looking for opportunities to lean on the dragon veins and borrow each other's strength. And the most enormous earth veins, the entire continent of astral souls, is being transported here. That is the source of the earth, the foundation of existence. Veins of the sky. There are signs of veins of the sky. What's going on with the continent of astral souls? Xiaoduo suddenly felt dizzy because when he observed the existence of the veins of the sky just now, the abundant power from the veins of the sky seemed to spontaneously attack him. Xiaoduo instantly felt that his spirit was shaking and shattering. This was obviously the backlash from the veins of the sky. Fortunately, he had been holding Xiaoyan's hand and had not let go. At the moment when Xiaoduo was hit by the backlash, although Xiaoyan did not notice it, a phoenix suddenly flapped its wings behind her and flew towards the veins of the sky. Then, the two special powers disappeared at the same time. The phoenix scattered into invisible droplets and gathered behind Xiaoyan again, while the surging vein of heaven returned to the earth at the first moment, gathering the chi of heaven from all sides again and condensing bit by bit. That was close. Xiaoduo broke out in a cold sweat. The backlash from the veins of the sky was mostly active. The other dragons that gathered from the boundless earth and rushed up again and again, wanting to take a bite of Xiaoduo's luck. But the veins of the sky were not self-consciousness, and they sensed the purest of the power of the purest power of the heaven-s power. As long as they could take a bite of the power, they would be a lot stronger. Driven by instinct, they no longer cared about how powerful the power of the heavens' power was. They also did not care, or rather, did not consider the possibility of being defeated or even devoured. No wonder there are so many Qi Watchers. The predecessors once said that one can't casually observe Shang Jing's Qi Watchers. The Qi Watchers are indeed mixed. It's really the gathering of thousands of dragons. To Qi Watchers, rashly observing this realm is equivalent to gambling with their own Qi Watchers, Qi Watchers, Qi Watchers. They may be overturned by the Qi of dragons at any time. Such a situation does not exist in other cities, only in Shangjing, because this place is the real ancestral dragon's land, and because of the convergence of the veins of the sky, all the veins of the earth and the world instinctively converge here. That little bit of true spirit is also gathered here. Zhuo stood high in the sky. After paying the price of more than 10 attacks and bites, he could finally see some of the veins of the sky clearly. This trip was not in vain. At least I can be sure that the person who is Qi Watchers in Shangjing and who gave the Wang family advice must be an extremely capable Qi Watcher. Perhaps, not only is he extremely capable, but he is also an extremely powerful Qi Watcher who is even more powerful than me now. Zhuo was very afraid of this. As he clearly saw the veins of sky below, fewer and fewer veins of sky rushed up to attack and bite him. In the end, they all calmed down. It was probably because Zhuo's current position was already high enough in the sky. Looking around, he could see more than 1,000 dragon Qi Watchers. At this point, the veins of sky in Shangjing were scattered like stars in the sky, and they were all clearly visible to him. Zhuo knew that the opportunity could not be missed. He simply dripped 2 drops of Qi Watchers into his eyes and concentrated on observing. He used the Qi Watchers technique to confirm again and again. Then, he used the Feng Shui technique to verify again and again. Finally, he used the physiognomy technique to look over bit by bit. Coiling Dragon and Crouching Tiger. The entire city is arranged in the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams pattern. Below the northernmost mountain, there are winding mountains on the left and right like divine dragons guarding the mountain. All the way down south is a flatland. Entering is Coiling Dragon and Crouching Tiger. Leaving is Ferocious Tiger and Crouching Tiger. Advancing can be used to attack, and retreating can be used to defend. It is indeed a grand design arrangement. The entire Shangjing itself is a complete and huge Feng Shui layout. Zhuo could not help but exclaim in admiration of the masterpiece of the predecessors. Even if he were to set up such a Feng Shui layout now, it would be quite difficult for him to do so. When the predecessors built Shangjing, 99% of them did not have the ability to fly in the sky and burrow into the ground like him. After all, it was the end of the Wu dynasty at that time. At that point in time, they were able to set up such a complete and magnificent Feng Shui layout with all kinds of methods. It integrated heaven, earth, and people into one and was exceptionally thoughtful in all directions. Amazing. Really amazing. Zhuo asked obediently from his side, "Dog, do you see anything?" "I have a little clue." Zhuo pointed in a direction and frowned. The focus of the Wang family, the dragons fighting for the pulse, should be there. This world is gradually forming an isolated Feng Shui layout, but it is a cage. All the power of destiny that is trapped in it will be purified into the purest and most original essence. It will brew in this cage and finally break out. And the moment the original essence rushes out, the person in the gap can enjoy this benefit and turn it into the person's own Qi Watchers. If the number of people in that area exceeds the amount of Qi Watchers that can be shared, there will be a fight. The winner will enjoy the Qi Watchers, and the loser will get nothing. As far as this layout is concerned, the dragons fighting for the pulse is indeed true. In my opinion, this is a natural Feng Shui layout formed since ancient times. It is because it is natural that it has such a magical effect. After the whole Feng Shui array is formed, there will naturally be such an existence. Because it has been locked and constantly absorbed for a long time, it must be released. Otherwise, the Feng Shui layout is not complete and is destined to explode. But what I am curious about now is the basis of the Wong family's so-called plan. No matter how to seize my Qi watchers or the true meaning of this layout, I still don't understand it. So Xiaoduo naturally did not hide anything from Zhuoxianyan. The strange thing was really here. Logically speaking, since they knew what the Wong family was planning, they should be able to find some clues by following the picture. But the fact was that they did not find anything. But an old distinguished family like the Wong family in Shangjing, who had been planning for hundreds of years to achieve their goal, would not retreat at the last minute. What made Xiaoduo more afraid was the faintly turbulent power of the heavenly veins in the sky, and the qi of the great path seemed to be brewing something, gradually forming a strange mutual response. Heaven and earth were responding to each other, and this was just a very mysterious feeling. Everything that entered his eyes, including the direction of all the trends, was clear to him. This should be a change in the way of heaven for some reason, which led to the whereabouts of the great path, and then a response with the earth dragon. So Xiaoduo pondered for a long time, then changed his angle and looked at it from a new angle. Then, he pulled Zhuoxianyan and kept retreating. In the end, they were already out of the boundary of Shangjing. Standing at a height of nearly 10,000 meters, he looked at the sky and earth of Shangjing with rapt attention. Only then did he realize something else. Xiaoduo found that the heavenly veins in a higher position were faintly discernible, descending from the sky. The lower it went, the thinner it became. It was like dust, constantly spreading and descending. And from the center of the earth veins, where the dragons were fighting for the earth veins, there was also a subtle force rising in the opposite direction, soaring into the sky. As the two forces of qi continued to spread, they had already mixed together early in the morning and could not be distinguished. But after careful observation, Xiaoduo confirmed that the ascending force was constantly emerging, and the descending force was also constantly descending, and as time went on, the frequency of this mixed state became faster and faster. Although it was an almost imperceptible acceleration, it was really accelerating. The problem should be here. Although Xiaoduo was still a little confused, he could judge from this clue that the Wong family's plan must be related to the faintly forming pattern of heaven and earth. But this is very different from the original intention of the feng shui pattern, or even the opposite. So Xiaoduo suddenly looked far away and focused on a very distant place. Originally, that place was not within his field of vision, but Xiaoduo felt some kind of threat. In order to find out more about the truth, Xiaoduo flew back again and continued to observe Zhuoxianyan in the sky, searching for clues. That night, Zhuoxianyan was pulled by Xiaoduo to run back and forth in the sky of Shangjing no less than 17 times. She was confused and at a loss. Xiaoduo understood the mystery, so he was very interested and enjoyed watching. But Zhuoxianyan really did not know anything about feng shui and qi observation method. She only felt like a silly girl who was being led around again and again. She did not understand at all what was so interesting about the air in front of her. That should be where the Wong family's ancestral grave is. Xiaoduo stared at the area below and once again revealed an expression of having gained something. But immediately after, even more questions surged into his mind. The Wong family's ancestral grave has an excellent feng shui pattern. It is a natural guardian, a place where heroes who retired with the country rest. It is blessed by nature. But from what I see, it is obvious that someone changed the feng shui pattern, causing the whole pattern to deviate a little. Although it is just a little bit, it is already a great mistake. The guardian is supposed to be loyal to the outside world. But with this deviation, it shows that he is looking at the master and the throne with the corner of his eyes. Gradually, there is a subtle change of the feng shui pattern. In the end, he wants to replace the master. Although it is not to the extent of turning the world upside down, there are already signs of this. This is not right. This is not right. If I was not certain that there must be something wrong with the Wong family's ancestral grave, causing the descendants of the Wong family to be so unfilial and corrupt, even the most brilliant feng shui master would not be able to see the flaw in the feng shui of the ancestral grave. Looking at it from a general point of view, there is no bias. But in fact, it gives people a feeling that it is biased. This feeling is very serious, and the consequences are even more serious. This was a little strange. Zhuo began to pull Zhuo up and down again. They descended for thousands of feet and looked at the Wang family's ancestral grave from above. Then, they immediately ascended and looked again. They changed directions and continued to descend. They continued to ascend. Zhuo was held by his hand with a dumbfounded expression. They flew up and down again. And then again, Zhuo's brows were knitted tighter and tighter. He had obviously found the problem, but he could not find a specific problem. This was the biggest problem. After 30 to 40 times of this, finally, they landed directly in midair, only a dozen meters away from the Wang family's ancestral grave. So Xiaoduo finally found something. With a thought, he turned into a cloud and wind and landed in the grave. As far as the eye could see, there were many tombstones. I see. Xiaoduo looked at the Wang family's ancestral grave and heaved a long sigh of relief. He finally understood. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.